Chapter 1398 ran really fast. Yunchujo could not think of a good idea at the moment, so she could only wait and see. Dharma Protector Lin, what should we do next? Because the situation is unclear, we will stay here for the time being. In 7 days the Misty Valley will close. At that time we will be ejected out, and we will naturally be able to escape, Dharma Protector Lin said in a deep voice. What about these hostages? Dharma Protector Lin looked at Fengming and the others with disdain. The value of these people is really limited. Kill them before we go out to avoid being a burden. After a while, those people began to eat their lunch. Yunchujo gave Lan Luochen a look and the two of them left carefully. What should we do? The two of us can't defeat those people at all, Yunchujo said with a frown. Lan Luochen's expression was also very grave. With the two of you's abilities, it is indeed impossible to save them unless we can contact other people. However, we are unable to use the sound transmission talisman in this Misty Valley, and the area here is very large. It is really very difficult to contact them. The two of them discussed for a long while but did not come up with any good ideas. They could only carefully hide their tracks and check on the situation of the people of the Netherworld Palace from time to time, hoping to find a suitable opportunity to strike. As time passed, Yunchujo could not sit still anymore. Lan Luochen, the longer we drag this out, the more disadvantageous it will be for us. Let's do it this way. I am their #1 target, so I will go and attract their attention. Once I run away, they will definitely chase after me. If there are fewer people chasing after me, you will kill them together with me. If there are more people chasing after me, you will kill the rest of them. Save Fengming and the others and then go and save me. Lan Luochen felt that this was too risky, but Yunchujo had already made up her mind. Seeing that his persuasion was ineffective, he could only agree to Yunchujo's plan. Yunchujo deliberately took a detour, then hopped towards the direction of the people from the Hall of the Dead. The people from the Hall of the Dead soon discovered Yunchujo, and someone exclaimed, Dharma Protector Lin. Yunchujo. It's actually that damned girl Yunchujo. I didn't expect her to come to us of her own accord. What a great fortune. A hint of joy flashed across Dharma Protector Lin's eyes. He had thought that he was going to return empty-handed this time. He didn't expect that Yunchujo, that big fish, would actually take the initiative to bump into the net. The heavens were really helping him. Fengming and the others who were caught felt their hearts sink. Wasn't junior sister little Jiao sending herself to her death? You should run. No matter how powerful you were, you wouldn't be able to defeat so many people. Moreover, their spiritual power was much higher than yours. They had no hope of being rescued. After all, no matter how heaven-defying Yunchujo was, it was impossible for her to defeat so many people from the Netherworld Palace. Dharma Protector Lin waved his hand, and a group of people jumped towards Yunchujo, wanting to catch her. At this moment, Yunchujo seemed to have suddenly come to her senses and cried out in alarm, Ah, help! Quick help! These bastards want to kill me! Yunchujo screamed as she ran, and the people from the Netherworld Palace chased after her relentlessly. Yunchujo turned her head and glanced at them. It seemed that the Netherworld Palace really wanted to capture her. More than half of them had come to capture her. Since there were many people who came to capture her, Lan Luochen could take the opportunity to rescue Fengming and the others. She had to lure these people further away. Therefore, Yunchujo used all her strength and ran forward like a wind and fire wheel. The people of the Netherworld Palace were so angry that they gritted their teeth. Yunchujo, this wretched girl, was clearly only at the 5th level of the spirit sect. How could she run so fast? Chapter 1399. Stalling for time. After running out for nearly 2 hours, the people of the Netherworld Palace finally caught up and surrounded Yunchujo. The leader was none other than Dharma Protector Lin. It was not easy for the big fish, Yunchujo, to bump into him, so he was naturally worried, so he personally brought people to chase after her. Although he felt that he alone was enough to deal with such a little girl, he still brought more than 40 people to be safe. As for the captives, their spiritual power had already been restrained, so they were not worried that they would run away. Moreover, it did not matter even if they ran away. The most important thing was to capture Yunchujo. Little girl, you are quite good at running, but now you have no chance of escaping. Be obedient and surrender. Otherwise, if we don't make a serious move, you will suffer. Dharma Protector Lin felt that Yun Chujo was already in their hands. He looked very proud. I am puzzled. I didn't provoke the Netherworld Hall. Why do you have to capture me? Yun Chujo blinked her eyes and said angrily, you are the one that the higher-ups want to capture. As for the reason, when you return with us you will naturally know. Cut the crap and surrender obediently. Yun Chujo sighed helplessly. Alright, since you have the advantage in numbers, I can't beat you. Come, tie me up and bring me back for the reward. Dharma Protector Lin pointed at the two of them. You two restrain her spiritual power and tie her up with a rope. The two people who had been assigned immediately took out the rope and walked forward, wanting to tie Yun Chujo up. At this moment, Yun Chujo waved her hands repeatedly, and several small purple needles flew straight towards their eyes. The two of them reacted rather quickly. They dodged more than half of the small purple needles, but there were still a few small purple needles that pierced into their faces. Along with the sound of explosions, the two of them screamed repeatedly. Although they did not die on the spot, however, their faces were also badly mutilated from the explosions. Taking advantage of the time when everyone was still in a daze, Yun Chujo waved her hands repeatedly, and the small purple needles continuously shot towards the people of the Netherworld Palace. However, those people were already mentally prepared, so they dodged Yun Chujo's small purple needles one after another. Dharma Protector Lin flew into a rage out of humiliation. Stinky girl, if you refuse a toast, you'll have to drink the forfeit. Go. Take her down and leave her alive. Yun Chujo shouted, wait. Is that all your Netherworld Palace has? Do you still want to gang up on a little girl at the 5th level of the spirit sect? Do you dare to fight me one-on-one? Yun Chujo did this naturally to stall for time. Chapter 1400 was indeed strange. Lu Zhuang was so angry that he repeatedly used his spiritual bear to attack Yun Chujo. However, Yun Chujo was slippery. After a full quarter of an hour, Lu Zhuang did not even hurt a single hair on Yun Chujo's head. However, Yun Chujo's mouth was not idle. She continued to provoke Lu Zhuang. I told you. You big stupid bear. You are so stupid that even your spiritual beast is incomparably stupid. How dare a fool like you lecture me? Pooey. You are really trash. I think you're probably the dumbest among all of us. Since you know you're useless, don't come out and show off. Why didn't anyone say that they wanted to have a one-on-one fight with me, but only you came out to have fun? Do you think that you're the only one who stopped? TSK, if you ask me, everyone is stronger than you. Even the two people who went up just now are 100 times stronger than you. You're useless. Lu Zhuang's temper had always been hot-tempered. After being provoked by Yun Chujo, he was so angry that his face turned red and his neck was thick. He simply put away his spiritual beast and took out a large knife and slashed at Yun Chujo. Yo, you still want to play with knives with us? I am the ancestor of knives. Look at my large kitchen knife. Yun Chujo took out the large kitchen knife and waved it a few times in a pretentious manner. In fact, she continuously dodged and continued to stall for time. Dharma Protector Lin did not pay much attention to it at the beginning. Suddenly he had a thought. Not good. This stupid girl could not have used a trick to lure them away, right? She could not have appeared in front of them for no reason. Moreover, she was clearly stalling for time. There must be accomplices rescuing the hostages. Once the hostages were rescued, they would come to reinforce them. Damn it. Dharma Protector Lin thought of this and roared angrily. This darn girl is stalling for time. Everyone attack together. Let's end this quickly. Yun Chujo secretly cursed in her heart. Damn it, she had actually been seen through. It had only been a short while, and it was impossible for Lan Luochen to succeed. Moreover, the other party still had 20 people left, so she had to save herself. Hence, Yun Chujo no longer hid her strength and released the 5 puppets. The 5 puppets protected Yun Chujo in the middle, and Yun Chujo began to release her spirit energy piglets towards the people of the Netherworld Palace. The people of the Netherworld Palace were shocked. Fuck. What the hell were these things? Wasn't that smelly girl at the 5th level of the spirit sect? How could she release so many spirit energy piglets? And how could those damn piglets devour their spirit energy? Also, these refined iron puppets were too abnormal. Didn't they say that refined iron puppets could only be used for defense? Why were these puppets able to attack and even know how to protect their master? Dharma Protector Lin thought to himself, no wonder the higher-up specifically asked for this stinky girl. This stinky girl was indeed strange. Disregarding everything else, just these refined iron puppets were a great killing tool. If they knew the manufacturing method and mass-produced them, wouldn't it be easy to capture the Tianyuan continent? Therefore, they had to capture this stinky girl alive. Although Yun Chuzhou had refined iron puppets and her spiritual energy was also abnormal, the difference in strength between the two sides was too great. In just 15 minutes, the refined iron puppets were already unable to block the attacks of the people of the Netherworld Hall. Yun Chuzhou summoned 8 immortal swords to hold on for a while, but it was still useless. Yun Chuzhou felt that in less than 15 minutes, she could only surrender. There was still no news from Lan Luochen. It seemed that she could not be counted on. Could she only be a captive? Yun Chuzhou gritted her teeth and rushed out first. Therefore, Yun Chuzhou activated the defensive spirit tool on her body, and then gave an order to the puppet. Chapter 1401. Puppets self-destructing. The 5 puppets forcefully protected Yun Chuzhou and rushed to the edge of the crowd. Yun Chuzhou charged out forcefully. Yun Chuzhou ran forward with all her might. Although the 5 puppets tried their best to stop the people of the Netherworld Palace, there were too many people from the Netherworld Palace. They could only stop a few people. When Yun Chuzhou was running with all her might, she heard 5 loud bangs coming from behind. Her heart ached. She turned around and saw thick smoke rising from behind. Some people from the Netherworld Palace were blasted into a bloody mess. The 5 refined iron puppets had actually self-destructed. Yun Chuzhou had never thought that the 5 refined iron puppets would actually self-destruct on their own accord. She had not added this function when she was refining the puppet disc. This meant that they had used their weak intelligence to make the decision that was most beneficial to their master. That was to sacrifice themselves to help their master escape. Yun Chuzhou's eyes were bloodshot. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Their master would not let you all die in vain. I will avenge you all sooner or later. The people of the Netherworld Palace were even more shocked. They had never heard that puppets could self-destruct. How was this possible? The self-destruction of 5 puppets instantly killed and injured half of the people of the Netherworld Palace. The remaining 20 or so people chased after Yun Chuzhou relentlessly. Yun Chuzhou vaguely heard the sound of running water. Her heart skipped a beat. It would be great if there was a big river. She had a water-repellent bead. Once she was in the water, they would not be able to do anything to her. Yun Chuzhou followed the sound of running water and ran over. She did not expect that this place was a cliff. There seemed to be a spring in the middle of the cliff, forming a waterfall. Below it was a pool of water. No one knew how deep it was. The people from the Netherworld Palace had already caught up. Dharma Protector Lin said viciously, "Stupid girl, why don't you run? I want to see where you can run to now." Dharma Protector Lin hated Yun Chuzhou to death. He did not expect a little girl to kill more than 20 of his subordinates. It was a great humiliation. Yun Chuzhou gritted her teeth. This cliff was full of water stains. Sticky threads might not be useful. Moreover, even if she was hanging on the cliff, she would still be attacked by their spiritual power. Only by jumping into the pool would she have a chance of survival. Thinking of this, Yun Chuzhou smiled brightly at Dharma Protector Lin. "Just you wait. I will definitely kill all of you to avenge my 5 puppets." Dharma Protector Lin sneered. "Revenge? You are simply delusional. Quickly come over and surrender. Otherwise, I will knock you down with my palm and make you fall into pieces." Yun Chuzhou glanced at them coldly, then jumped down. Dharma Protector Lin stomped his feet in anger and ran to the edge of the cliff to take a look. He saw Yun Chuzhou fall into the pool and then disappeared. "Go down and search. If she's alive, we want to see her. If she's dead, we want to see her body." The people of the Hall of the Dead were about to take a detour down the cliff when they met Lan Luochen and Feng Ming. Lan Luochen did not see Yun Chuzhou and his heart sank. "Where's Yun Chuzhou?" Dharma Protector Lin saw that Feng Ming and the others had been saved and knew that Lan Luochen was involved. He smiled sinisterly. "The wretched girl has already jumped off the cliff and died. It was useless for you to save her. Now she still has to die. Go kill them. Feng Ming and the other two heard that Yun Chujiu had jumped off the cliff and died. Their eyes immediately turned red as they roared angrily and fought with the people from the Hall of the Dead. Lan Luochen was stunned on the spot. Yun Chujiu was dead? How was it possible? Previously he was still alive and fighting side by side with him. How could he die just like that? Dharma Protector Lin saw that Lan Luochen was still muddle-headed. A trace of viciousness flashed in his eyes as he attacked Lan Luochen with his spiritual power. Lan Luochen suddenly looked at Dharma Protector Lin. Dharma Protector Lin was suddenly shocked. Lan Luochen's eyes had turned dark blue and carried a destructive aura. Chapter 1402. Yun Chujiu had disappeared. Dharma Protector Lin subconsciously took 2 steps back. Then he felt a flash before his eyes. His neck had been grabbed by Lan Luochen. Lan Luochen stared at him. Where is Yun Chujiu? Dharma Protector Lin was almost choked to death. He pointed at his neck repeatedly. Only then did Lan Luochen let go of Dharma Protector Lin's neck. Just as Dharma Protector Lin wanted to run, Lan Luochen slapped his back. Dharma Protector Lin spat out a mouthful of blood. Lan Luochen stepped on his back and asked, Tell me, where is Yun Chujiu? She jumped down from the cliff in front and fell into the pool. Lan Luochen exerted strength under his feet and Dharma Protector Lin died. Then, he waved his hands and a Qilin with even greater spiritual power than before rushed towards the people of the Netherworld Palace. Soon, the situation became Lan Luochen's one-sided massacre. Feng Ming and the others were dumbstruck. They had seen the battle between Lan Luochen and the people of the Netherworld Palace before. Although they were also very powerful, they were completely different from the one in front of them. The Lan Luochen in front of them seemed to have completely changed into a different person. Previously Lan Luochen was cold and aloof, but now Lan Luochen was like a cold-blooded Azura. What was even more unbelievable was that the more than 20 people of the Netherworld Palace were basically all at the Spirit Paragon level or above, but in front of Lan Luochen, they actually had no power to fight back. However, before this Lan Luochen had spent a lot of effort to get rid of those people. Why was this? A moment later, the people of the Netherworld Palace had all turned into corpses. Lan Luochen directly jumped to the place where Yun Chujiu jumped off the cliff. As expected, there was a pool below. Lan Luochen took out a rope from his storage ring. After fixing one end of the rope on a tree, he climbed down the cliff. Feng Ming and the other two also climbed down the rope. They blamed themselves in their hearts. They knew that Yun Chujiu put herself in danger to save them. Otherwise, with Yun Chujiu's intelligence, it was impossible for her to take the initiative to deliver herself to them. After Lan Luochen jumped into the pool, he discovered that the pool was not very deep. Moreover, there was a gap that formed a small stream that extended into the distance. Lan Luochen dived into the bottom of the pool and found that there was some fine sand at the bottom of the pool. There were also some small fish and shrimp swimming around. He did not find Yun Chujiu's figure. Could it be that Yun Chujiu escaped after falling into the pool? Lan Luochen carefully checked the surrounding ground. He did not find any traces of blood, but he also did not find any traces of people walking. However, it was also possible that Yun Chujiu was afraid of being discovered by the people of the Hall of the Dead, so she deliberately erased her tracks. Lan Luochen realized that it was very likely that Yun Chujiu was not dead. He let out a sigh of relief in his heart. Then his vision went black and he directly fainted. Fortunately, Feng Ming and the others were by his side. They fed him water and pills. Only then did Lan Luochen wake up. However, his eyes had already returned to their normal color. His entire temperament had become cold and otherworldly once again. Although Feng Ming and the other two did not understand, they did not ask further. Instead they said, Lan Luochen, there is no corpse of junior sister Little Nine down here. This means that junior sister Little Nine will definitely be safe and sound. Lan Luochen nodded. Yun Chujiu will definitely be fine. Let's split up and look for her. Even if she leaves, she won't be able to go far. Feng Ming and the others nodded in agreement and began to split up to look for Yun Chujiu. 5 days later, the time for the Misty Valley to close had arrived. Everyone was ejected out one after another. However, Lan Luochen, Feng Ming, and the others didn't find any traces of Yun Chujio. Chapter 1403 Question. Everyone's head buzzed. Could it be that Yun Chujio was dead? Deputy Dean Xiao had already listened to everyone's description of what had happened inside. It could be said that Yun Chujio had relied on her own strength to save everyone inside. Who would have thought that she would lose her life in the end? It was truly a pity. Lan Luochen wanted to enter the Misty Valley again, but the entrance to the Misty Valley had already closed and disappeared in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. Lan Luchen's heart was slowly being eroded by regret. Originally, he could have easily killed those 20 people, but in order to conceal his strength, he had only used 50% of his strength. He had thought that Yun Chujio was so smart that she would definitely be able to hold on until he arrived, but he had not expected Yun Chujio to die just like that. Feng Ming, the other two, and Lan Luochen did not follow Deputy Dean Xiao and the others back to the Tianyuan Academy. In any case, it would be a holiday soon, so Deputy Dean Xiao could understand their feelings. After sighing, he left with his men. Those loose cultivators also sighed. After all, Yun Chujio could be considered to have saved their lives directly or indirectly, but she actually died just like that. It was truly a pity. After shaking their heads and sighing, they all left. When the 7 people who had once robbed Yun Chujio heard that Yun Chujio had died, they couldn't help but sigh. Although they felt that it was a pity that they didn't get the 7 million upper-grade spirit stones, they also felt that it was a pity that the little girl had died. After sighing for a while, they also left. Feng Ming immediately informed Di Baiming of the news. Although Di Baiming had been frightened by Yun Chujio's experience many times, his heart still hurt. He hurriedly rode the flying spirit tool and rushed to the place where Yun Chujio once appeared. Feng Ming told Di Baiming about the incident, and Di Baiming immediately discovered the strangeness in Feng Ming's words. His gaze was heavy as he looked at Lan Luochen. Lan Luochen, I originally thought that you had a little bit of sincerity towards little Jiu. I didn't expect that you would actually harm little Jiu in the end. If little Jiu knew that the friend that she thought she could trust had actually tricked her, do you think she would ignore you forever? Lan Luochen said coldly, I know that I have let Yun Chujio down. If Yun Chujio didn't die, I would naturally admit my mistake to her, and spend my entire life to make up for my mistake this time. If Yun Chujio is dead, I will destroy the Netherworld Hall and avenge her. Bullshit. Lan Luochen, who do you think you are? What is the use of your life? Return my little sister Jiu to me, or I will kill you. Xue Wuji finally managed to get rid of his father's forced marriage. He came to see Yun Chujio in a hurry. On the way, Xue Wuji heard that the Tianyuan Academy had come to the Misty Valley to train, so he rushed over. He did not expect to hear some itinerant cultivators talking about Yun Chujio's death. He was burning with anxiety and rushed over immediately. Although Lan Luochen had never seen Xue Wuji, he had seen Xue Wuji's portrait. When he saw Xue Wuji being so impolite, his tone became cold and hard. Young Master Wuji, where were you when Yun Chujio was in danger? What right do you have to question me? Bullshit. If little sister Jiu did not trust you wrongly, would she put herself in danger? Maybe she would have thought of another way. And you? You hypocrite, since you have promised little sister Jiu, why didn't you use your full strength? I know. You must have some ulterior motives, which is why you hid your strength. Perhaps you are in cahoots with the people of the Netherworld Palace. Xue Wuji said with a sneer. Chapter 14. For you're too weak. Lan Luchen's face was as white as snow. You're simply going too far. If it wasn't for the fact that you're worried about Yun Chujio, I wouldn't have spared you. You wouldn't have spared me? What a joke with just you. If you have the ability, you and young master will fight for 300 rounds. Xue Wuji couldn't wait for Lan Luochen to fight with him. It was a good opportunity to teach this gigolo a lesson. Damn it, it was one thing for the facial paralysis to get to know little sister Jiu before me, but you even got involved. Are you worthy? The most infuriating thing was that he even caused little sister Jiu's life to be unknown. He really deserved to die. No matter how good-tempered Lan Luochen was, he could not stand Xue Wuji's derogatory words. The two of them instantly got into a fight. That's right, the two of them did not use their spiritual power. It was as if they were two people without spiritual power. Di Baiming couldn't be bothered with them. He asked Feng Ming in detail about what happened. He thought to himself, since there were no traces of blood around the pool and little Joe's body wasn't found, it meant that little Joe definitely didn't fall to her death after jumping off the cliff. Most likely, the problem was above the pool. Perhaps there was another mystery under the pool? Little Joe accidentally broke the array formation, so she was sent to another place? It must be like this. Xiao Jiu was able to avoid danger time and time again, and this time was no exception. Next time she would have to search for more defensive spirit tools for Xiao Jiu. She would always encounter some strange things. In a stone room in the Misty Valley. Achoo! It must be the gigolo and the others talking about me. Sigh, my unlucky physique is really out of this world. Xiao Hei, I'm afraid we can't get out. Master, what do you think this place is? Why do I feel like it's a tomb? Xiao Heinio said with his pizzazed eyes. Sigh, who knows? I've thought of all the possible solutions. There's no exit at all in this place. It seems that we can only be trapped here forever. Yun Chuzhou looked like she had nothing to live for. That day, after she jumped into the pool, she was pulled here by a huge suction force. This was an empty stone room. Other than the stone walls and the green slabs on the ground, there was nothing else. Yun Chuzhou had thought of all kinds of ways. There was no point in using lightning to strike, Xiao Hei to dig a hole, or cursing the Tian Dao. This place was like a sealed grave. There was no way out at all. Fortunately, Yun Chuzhou had a lot of food in her storage ring. Moreover, she still had the Great Void Mystic Realm. In short, she could not starve to death. This guy counted with his fingers. He had been down here for almost 10 days. The Misty Valley must have been closed. Perhaps he had already sunk into the void. He did not know if Lan Luochen had saved senior brother Feng Ming and the others. Sigh, if the pretty boy knew that I had gone missing again, he would definitely be worried again. Speaking of which, ever since I met him, he seemed to be the only one who was worried about me. I have never worried about him. Alright, this can only mean one thing. My fucking idea is too bad. Xiao Heinio said weakly from the side, Master, it can also mean one thing. You are too weak. Yun Chuzhou kicked Xiao Heinio away angrily. You useless piece of trash. You are still talking about me? You are not weak? You are not weak and you still look like a crow? Didn't you say that you are more awesome than the 9-colored celestial sparrow? Why didn't I see it? Xiao Heinio was already used to being abused by his black-hearted master. He stared at Xiao Heinio and said, I am still young. When I grow up, I will naturally be powerful. What's the rush? Chapter 1405 Puppet Dancing Humph. I guess when you become really powerful, grass will grow on my grave. Yun Chuzhou snorted coldly. Xiao Heinio was extremely regretful that its mouth was bad. It cursed in its heart, calling you O son. Calling you O son. Didn't she know that the master of the Black Heart was weak? This was great, she had been blamed. My dignity had been lost. In the future, it would lose face in front of Mickey Mouse and Xiao Hong. After Yun Chuzhou scolded Xiao Heinio, she had to admit that Xiao Heinio was right. She was still too weak. She was only at the 5th level of the Spirit Saint realm, and many things could only be practiced by spiritual venerables. If she were to go out this time, she had to double her cultivation. However, with her broken constitution, even if she had enough spiritual power, she would still be unable to break through without luck. It was really annoying. Yun Chuzhou thought of the 5 refined iron puppets that self-destructed, and her heart could not help but ache. Number 1 to number 5 were all made with her separate spiritual sense, so she felt very uncomfortable just thinking about it. Yun Chuzhou thought about it, and since she couldn't find a way out, she might as well try to make a few more puppet discs. After all, she still had many refined iron puppet shells. Yun Chuzhou tried, and it was really needless to say. Perhaps after a period of rest, her spiritual sense had recovered, so Yun Chuzhou made 5 more puppet discs. Yun Chuzhou hurriedly put the puppet discs into the refined iron puppets' bodies, and then said, You will be called number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5 from now on. The 5 puppets nodded in unison. Although Yun Chuzhou knew that these 5 puppets were not the same as the previous 5, she still felt a sense of comfort in her heart. Yun Chuzhou was so bored that she let the 5 puppets dance for her to see. Pour these 5 refined iron puppets. They were originally great weapons, but now they had become Yoon Chujio's toys to entertain herself. Yoon Chujio did not know whether it was an illusion or not, but she felt that she heard a snicker. Yoon Chujio continued to let the puppets dance without batting an eyelid. Moreover, she made them dance like rabbits. The 5 puppets were jumping around on their shoulders in a very comical manner. Sure enough, Yoon Chujio heard another snicker. Damn it! Perhaps it was the weapon spirit of the Misty Valley who was behind this. It seemed that she was born to be a criminal with the weapon spirit. Yoon Chujio's expression did not change, but she was thinking in her heart. The weapon spirit of the Misty Valley was clearly more composed than the other weapon spirits she had encountered. If she had not accidentally used the puppets to amuse Qi Ling, it would not have exposed itself. Therefore, she had to plan carefully. Hence, from this day onwards, Yoon Chujio not only allowed the 5 puppets to dance, she also taught them Tai Chi, square dancing and so on. Occasionally, Yoon Chujio could hear the sound of snickering. Yoon Chujio slowly identified the source of the sound, on a stone wall on the roof. It seemed that there was a formation on the stone wall, so that the weapon spirit could see everything that was happening in her place. Qi Ling's eyes widened. Yoon Chujio's eyes darkened. She raised her hand and aimed at the stone wall with several small purple needles. After the cracking sound, there was nothing unusual there. Yoon Chujio firmly believed in her judgment and kept attacking one place with the small purple needles. After attacking for 4 hours with the cracking sound, a hole appeared there and light shone down. Yoon Chujio was overjoyed. She quickly released several piglets of spiritual power to enlarge the hole. Then, she activated the defensive spiritual tool on her body and climbed up the wall with sticky threads. After climbing up, when Yoon Chujio saw the scene in front of her, she felt that it was better for her not to come up. Chapter 1406 Spicy Flavor. After climbing up the hole, Yoon Chujio found that there was actually a cemetery. One grave after another, there was no end in sight. Even Yoon Chujio, who was extremely bold, felt a cold breeze behind her. However, since she had already come up, she couldn't go down no matter what. She could just walk forward and take a look. There were no gravestones on the graves, so she could not determine who the graves belonged to. Yoon Chujio could not help but complain. What the fuck? The weapon spirit of the Misty Valley was simply abnormal. It actually locked her under the cemetery. Moreover, it might also be living nearby. This taste was really strong. Yoon Chujio quickly found something strange. These graves were actually emitting a continuous stream of mist. Could this be the source of the mist in the Misty Valley? How could there be mist in the tombs? How strange. However, since these were the source of the mist in the valley, it meant that she would be able to reach the valley as long as she continued walking. This way, if the Misty Valley appeared again, she would be able to be ejected out. This could be considered a harvest. Yoon Chujio was a little hungry as she walked. Hence, she did not care whether this was a graveyard or not. She took out a steamed bun and started eating. As she ate, her heart stirred. She thought of the process of steaming the buns. These graves were similar to the buns, so the source of the fog was under these graves. The source of the fog was naturally related to the Qi Ling, which meant the Qi Ling was under this grave. What a cunning Qi Ling. No one would open this grave. Humph, it's a pity that you met me. Yoon Chujio finished the steamed buns in a few mouthfuls. Then she picked a random grave and bowed. I'm really sorry. I'm also trying to survive. Please forgive me for disturbing you. Yoon Chujio said a few words and then took out her pickaxe and started digging. The Qi Ling below was completely dumbfounded. Oh my god. What kind of intrepid pervert was this? It was already perverse enough to come out of the tomb. Why did she dig the grave? Could it be that she had guessed that it was hidden under the cemetery? No way. How could she have guessed it? Yoon Chujio dug with her pickaxe and found a hole. There was a continuous stream of mist rising from the hole. It was just as she had expected. Yoon Chujio said coldly to the hole, Qi Ling, I know you are hiding under here. Either you bring me in or you come out. Otherwise, I will put some bad things in the hole, such as chili noodles or some rapeseed oil. The Qi Ling sat on the ground. It was over. Sure enough, this pervert had found its hiding place. What should it do? Fighting was done by barbarians. It didn't care. Alright, it couldn't beat her either. What should it do? Qiling, I'll count to 3. If you still don't move, I'll pour the chili and peppercorn noodles. When the time comes, the mist you leave here will turn into a spicy flavor. It will definitely be very popular with the demon beasts. They will definitely be very grateful to you. Qiling almost fainted from anger. You are simply spouting nonsense. I've never heard of any spicy flavor in the mist. It's not like it's stir-fried vegetables. Seeing that Yun Chujo really took out a big sack, Qiling could only grit his teeth and bring Yun Chujo in. Yun Chujo only felt a white light flash in front of her eyes. When she opened her eyes again, she realized that it was actually in a luxurious, tomb room. It had to be said that the Qiling of the Misty Valley really loved the tomb. Chapter 1407 The Little Skeleton. When Yun Chujo saw the Qiling, she finally understood why it loved tombs so much. This Qiling was just a little skeleton. The little skeleton sat on a luxurious coffin and said fiercely, "Why did you see me? You destroyed my big tomb and I didn't even bother with you. What else do you want?" Yun Chujo placed her hands on her waist. She pointed at the little skeleton and scolded, "You little skeleton, you still have the face to say that? I know you have no face to begin with. You heartless, shameless little skeleton. If not for you, would I have been trapped in that large tomb? If not for you, I would have already left. Do you think I want to see you? You shameless little skeleton." The skeleton turned red. You're courting death." "Yeah, I'm courting death. If you have the ability, can you kill me?" Yun Chujo said fearlessly. She had already discovered that these artifact spirits were restricted by the rules, and had no way to directly kill cultivators. They could only use some underhanded tricks to prank people. The little skeleton was so angry that it was about to fall apart. It said fiercely, "I won't kill you now. I want to keep you trapped here. Even if the Misty Valley opens up, you won't be able to get out." Yun Chujo shrugged. "It doesn't matter. Anyway, this house looks pretty good. It's much better than the large tomb room I had before. From now on we'll be neighbors. Don't worry, I'm definitely a good neighbor of Tianyang. I won't bully you." The little skeleton looked at her with a dumbfounded face. Yun Chujo took out a recliner and then sat on it. She took out a storybook and read it leisurely as if she was at home. The little skeleton gritted his teeth. She must be faking it. He did not believe that she was not afraid. "Chimpich, let's see how long you can last." From this day on, Yun Chujo and the little skeleton became neighbors. Yun Chujo ate and drank every day. She completely ignored the existence of the little skeleton. It was not right. She would occasionally be angry at the little skeleton. Sigh. People are still the best. At least everything tastes good. It is not like some things can only be seen and eaten. TSK. I originally thought that the radish spirits in Xiao Hei's white steamed buns that I saw in the past were ugly enough. I didn't expect that they would only be uglier. Little skeleton, you have really refreshed my understanding of the Qi Ling. Little skeleton, do you look at yourself in the mirror every day? Do you think that if you look at yourself in the mirror every day, you will be so scared that you will faint? The little skeleton was so angry that the color on its body turned red and white, then white and red again. Stupid girl. Don't think that I can't do anything to you. Do you know how the mist is created? Yun Chujo curled her lips and said disdainfully, "How would I know? Could it be that you created it?" "Of course I didn't create it. To tell you the truth, there was a poisonous spring at the bottom of the Misty Valley. This poisonous spring was very strange. Although the spring water was extremely poisonous, the mist emitted by the spring water was not poisonous. Moreover, it had a very good nourishing effect on the spiritual plants. Without the mist of the poisonous spring, the underground spiritual mushroom would not be able to grow at all. Therefore, only the Misty Valley has underground spiritual mushrooms." Yun Chujo blinked her eyes and said, "What you said is interesting, but what does it have to do with me? What does it have to do with me? If you don't apologize to me and acknowledge me as your master, I will throw you into the poisonous spring. In that case, you will be poisoned to death immediately." The little skeleton said fiercely. Chapter 1408. The poisonous spring was so comfortable Yoon Chujia's face revealed a terrified expression. What? You can't be that vicious, right? You put me into the poisonous spring? I'm so scared, I'm scared to death. The little skeleton saw Yoon Chujia's terrified expression, and was instantly extremely pleased with himself. Stinky girl, you know fear, right? Although you are the heavenly thunder spirit root that the heavenly Tao cannot tolerate, I originally didn't want to do anything to you, but you are really too shameless. Is there anyone who picks mushrooms like you? That is not called picking mushrooms, that is called snatching mushrooms. If it were not for those people from the Netherworld Palace jumping out, you might have dug up all of my mushrooms. Xiao Mogu said angrily. Xiao Mogu, what you said is wrong. I know that I cannot fish from the pond. Didn't I leave those little mushrooms for you? Don't be ungrateful, okay? Xiao Mogu had never seen such a thick-skinned person. He was so angry that he was trembling. Cut the crap. Are you going to apologize to me or not? Quickly acknowledge me as your master, or I will really throw you into the poisonous spring. Yoon Chujio suddenly stepped forward and kicked Xiao Mogu's body. Xiao Mogu was immediately broken into pieces and gathered together again. Stupid girl, you dare to kick me? Humph. Little skeleton, to tell you the truth, the reason why I haven't taken care of you for so many days is to see what you are capable of. Now it seems that you are a little trash. Let's see how we'll take care of you. The little skeleton was broken into pieces again by Yoon Chujia's kick. Just as they gathered together, it was broken into pieces again. The little skeleton cried out angrily, Stinky girl. Don't think that I'm trying to scare you. If you kick me again, I'll really throw you into the poisonous spring. In response to it, little Nine's shadowless feet kept on kicking. The little skeleton gritted its teeth. Yoon Chujio only felt a white light flash, and she was already in a warm spring. It was very comfortable to soak in it. As for poison, what a joke. To this guy, there was no such thing as poison in the world. Guai Chao started to clamor again. Yoon Chujio tried to suppress it a few times but failed. She could only accept her fate and start drinking the poisonous spring water. She knew that if she did not comply, Guai Chao might once again take control of her body. In that case, she might as well take the initiative to drink it. The little skeleton originally thought that Yoon Chujio would be corroded the moment she fell into the poisonous spring. Although it might be punished for doing so, it really hated Yoon Chujio to the core. It would rather kill Yoon Chujio than to harm the enemy. However, it never expected that the stinky girl would not die after falling into the poisonous spring. Instead, she swam around comfortably. What was even more terrifying was that she was actually drinking the poisonous spring water. Was she crazy? That was the poisonous spring. The poison in a mouthful of water could poison 100 people to death. She was actually drinking it all the time? The little skeleton looked on with a dumbfounded expression. Then he suddenly discovered a shocking fact. The stinky girl was really not afraid of poison. Moreover, she was actually absorbing the poison in the poisonous spring. The little skeleton was instantly numb. If the poison was all absorbed by the little brat, how could this Misty Valley still be called Misty Valley? Putting everything else aside, those earth-burrowing spiritual mushrooms were going to be extinct. However, the little skeleton could only bring people in, but it could not get them out. It was so anxious that it kept jumping. Little brat, come out. Yoon Chujio raised her head and looked at it disdainfully. It's very comfortable in here, why should I go out? I think this place is very good. I'm ready to settle down here. Chapter 1409. A little skeleton with nothing left to live for. The little skeleton saw that Yoon Chujio had no intention of coming out, and became even more anxious. You am warning you. Come out immediately, or else I won't let you off. Won't let me off? Why won't you let me off? Little skeleton, you have to recognize a fact now. If you don't make me happy, I'll absorb all the poison in this place. When that time comes, TSK, this Misty Valley won't be called Misty Valley anymore. Yoon Chujio said as she played with the water with her hand. It was so infuriating. You dare? What a joke, what do I not dare? What does the Misty Valley have to do with me? Besides, I have already dug up a lot of underground spiritual mushrooms. Even if I have to stew mushrooms and chicken every day, it will be enough for me to eat for a long time. Yun Chujo said with a smile. The little skeleton was so angry that it immediately fell apart. Yun Chujo curled her lips. Little skeleton, I advise you to make some paste to glue all your parts together. Otherwise, your shoddy construction is really unreliable. If one day you fall apart and you can't gather them together, wouldn't that be bad? The little skeleton had already gathered halfway, but when it heard Yun Chujia's words, it fell apart again. Shameless. Too shameless. If I hadn't met such a pervert like you, would I have been angered to the point of falling apart again and again? You, what do you want? I'm not a greedy person. You made me suffer such a huge shock. Moreover, you even saw the puppet's performance for free. Don't you want to express your gratitude? What? You want money? Don't even think about it. The little skeleton immediately became anxious. Who said I want money? I don't want money. Yun Chujo said with a smile. The little skeleton was relieved. You don't want money? If you don't want money, then we can talk about it. Just get me 180 divine weapons. Even if it's not enough, I can get a few thousand divine weapons. The little skeleton was once again angered to the point of fainting. You are simply asking for too much. Do you think that divine weapons are like cabbages? You don't even have a single one, and you still want to give me 100? This is simply infuriating. After repeating this over and over again, the little skeleton was angered to the point of fainting dozens of times. Yun Chujo and the little skeleton finally came to an agreement. The little skeleton would give all the defensive spirit artifacts that it had collected to Yun Chujo, and also give Yun Chujo 100 stalks of heaven-grade spirit herbs. Stinky little fairy. I have already fulfilled your request. Please come out from the pool. The little skeleton knelt by the side of the pool with a look of despair on its face. It felt that it was going to be tortured to the point of insanity. There's still one more important thing. You have to send me out. I don't want to stay in this misty valley. Yun Chujo swam around in the water, as happy as a little fish. Little fairy, this is really difficult. Although I'm a tool spirit, I can't control when this misty valley will appear. The little skeleton could not wait for this evil star to leave as soon as possible, however. It did not have the ability to make the misty valley appear earlier. I don't care. In any case, if you don't send me out, I will absorb all the poison in this poisonous spring. Humph. Yun Chujo continued to absorb the poison in the poisonous spring. The little skeleton was so anxious that it kowtowed to Yun Chujo. Little fairy, shut up. I beg you to be merciful. I will think of a way. Yun Chujo then slowly raised her head and sneered in her heart. You little thing, I'll pay you back 10,000 times for what you did to me previously. The little skeleton was so anxious that its head was banging on the ground. What should he do? How could he get this little pervert out? This was the void. There was no way to send her to the Tianyuan continent. Then the face of the continent that they represented would be completely disgraced. After the Tianyuan Academy received the challenge letter, the first thing they did was to inform all the major powers in the Tianyuan continent. With Di Lin Han as the leader, all the major powers decided to accept the challenge. The Netherworld Academy had done this on the orders of the Netherworld Palace. Perhaps this was just a test before the battle, so they had to accept the challenge. Otherwise, to the people of the Tianyuan continent, it would definitely be a blow to their confidence. The time for the competition was set to be 1 month later. The location was set not far away from the boundary between the two continents, the Blazing Sky Wasteland. The Blazing Sky Wasteland would often have sporadic heavenly flames descending, hence the name. However, the undying grass growing in the Burning Sky Wasteland was very strange. Even after being burned by the heavenly flames, it only needed 1 night to grow to 2 inches long, as if it had never been burned before. In order to prevent the people from the Netherworld continent from attacking from here, the various large factions had sent people to patrol this place. However, the Burning Sky Wasteland was really too big, and the spiritual power of the cultivator stationed here was limited, therefore, it basically did not have much of an effect. That was why the people from the Netherworld Hall had sneaked into the Tianyuan continent many times. Chapter 1411 Shungin v. 1 month later. It was time for the competition between the two academies. This competition had attracted the attention of almost everyone on both continents. The number of spectators had reached over 1 million. A huge competition stage had already been set up on the burning sky plains, and there were even VIP seats set up around it. Of course, the Longevity Hall and the other powers had also secretly sent people to make arrangements, in case the Netherworld Hall took this opportunity to attack the Tianyuan continent. Although the Tianyuan Academy was the main character of the competition on the Tianyuan continent side, it was Di Linhan who personally supervised the battle, because this competition was not to be trifled with. On the Netherworld continent side, other than Vice Palace Master Lu, who everyone knew, there was also a veiled lady. It was said that she was the holy maiden of the Hall of the Netherworld, although her face could not be seen. Shung Envi, however, the magnificence she exuded caused people to feel a sense of reverence from the bottom of their hearts. This was the first time that the people of the Tianyuan continent had seen the saintess of the Netherworld Hall. It was said that this saintess was extremely mysterious. Even the people of the Netherworld Hall had not seen her true face. However, the saintess's position in the Netherworld continent was unbreakable. Shung Envi, if it was not for the saintess's appeal, the Netherworld Hall would not have been able to become the #1 faction in the Netherworld continent. Although the two sides were incompatible with each other on the surface, they still politely nodded to each other in greeting. After that, the dean of the Netherworld Academy, Tusher, jumped onto the stage with a fake smile. "Everyone, thank you for coming to watch the competition between the Nether Academy and the Tianyuan Academy. Although I am far away from the Nether continent, I have heard of the fame of the Tianyuan Academy. Today, I am fortunate enough to be able to compete with the Tianyuan Academy. It is truly a blessing in 3 lifetimes." Dean Huangfu naturally wasn't willing to be outdone. He also jumped onto the stage and cupped his hands towards Tusher. "Dean Tusher, there is no need to belittle yourself. Actually, although the Nether Academy cannot compare to our Tianyuan Academy, it is still passable." The people of the Tianyuan continent burst into laughter. Dean Huangfu was really straightforward. What he said was really venting his anger. "Aren't you, Tusher, beating around the bush and belittling us? Our Dean Huangfu is going to slap your face directly and say that you can't do it. You'll die of anger." Tusher did not expect Dean Huangfu to be so straightforward. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Dean Huangfu is really confident. "Since that's the case, let's compete on the stage." "Dean Tusher, why are you so flustered?" "I'm just speaking the truth," Dean Huangfu said lightly. Tusher flung his sleeves in anger and jumped off the stage. Dean Huangfu shook his head innocently and also jumped off the stage. In the first round, the Tianyuan Academy had won completely. It had to be said that Dean Huangfu had learned one thing from Yun Chuzhou, which was that it was better to be angry than to die. Vice Palace Master Lu glared at Tusher unhappily. He was really too impatient. He had been angered to such an extent with just a few words, and it was really not worth it. Tusher also knew that he had lost his composure in his performance just now. He thought to himself, "Huangfu Zhongheng, you don't have to be proud." A person who had the upper hand in words was not considered a hero. There would be tears in a while. He had prepared several years in advance for this competition. All the geniuses of the Netherworld continent had been accepted into the Netherworld Academy by him. Not only were there geniuses with high spiritual power, but they had also specially groomed several talents with alchemy, cultivation, and the 5 arts. The Netherworld Academy would definitely win this competition. If the Netherworld Academy won this competition, the confidence of the people of the Tianyuan continent would be greatly affected. At that time, the Netherworld Palace would take the opportunity to launch a war, and they would be able to expand their territory like a hot knife through butter. Perhaps the entire Tianyuan continent would be theirs. Chapter 1412. Artifact Refining Competition. The competition was divided into 2 stages. The first stage was the competition of the 5 arts of cultivators, and the second stage was the competition of spiritual power. The results of each stage were calculated separately, and the stakes were 50 million high-grade spiritual stones. The host gave a simple introduction, and the first stage of the 5 Arts of Cultivators competition officially began. The 5 Arts of Cultivators were divided into artifact refining, array formation, pill refining, talisman seal, and beast taming. Although only a few cultivators cultivated the 5 Arts of Cultivators, these 5 arts were indispensable to a continent, especially artifact refining and pill refining. The level of these two things determined the level of spiritual power of a continent to a certain extent. The first event was the weapon refining competition. Tianyuan Academy and the Nether Academy each sent 5 students to participate in the weapon refining competition. Refining a spiritual weapon was very time-consuming and laborious. Of course, the crowd did not have the patience to watch them knock and knock. Therefore, in this round of the weapon refining competition, the competition was to repair a spiritual weapon. Spirit tools were expensive. Naturally, it was impossible to throw them away just because they were a little damaged. Therefore, besides refining, repairing spirit tools was also an important skill for blacksmiths. After a good blacksmithing master repaired a spirit tool, it would even be better than the original spirit tool. Could even be upgraded. For example, the original low-grade profound-grade spirit tool, after being repaired by a blacksmithing master, it was very likely that it would become a middle-grade profound-grade spirit tool. The host gestured for the staff to hand over the damaged spiritual devices. These spiritual devices were all damaged by the instructors of both parties, and the degree of damage was basically the same. However, for the sake of fairness, the contestants selected the spiritual devices to be repaired by drawing lots. After the students of the competition drew the spiritual devices to be repaired, they began to repair them nervously. The refiner furnaces needed to be carried by the contestants themselves, and the earth fire was ready-made. Even during the alchemy competition, the earth fire was also supplied. Every participant's workbench had all kinds of materials and tools prepared, and everything was prepared. TSK. I think the Nether Academy is going to lose this time. Look at that speed. It's much slower than the students of our Tianyuan Academy. Exactly. The Nether Academy still wants to compete with our Tianyuan Academy? Bah! They are simply overestimating themselves. The people of the Nether continent were naturally unwilling to be outdone. They immediately retorted, "You idiots! What's the use of being fast? Can't you see that the students of our Nether Academy have repaired it more meticulously? That's right. In any case, we can finish it within the stipulated 6 hours. What's the point of doing it so quickly? It's not a competition to see who can do it faster. We have to repair it properly." The crowd that was watching the commotion discussed animatedly. Of course, they were all supporting the students of their respective continents. They kept on bickering. Fortunately, there was an almighty seated at the VIP stand, so they were only limited to verbal bickering. As the saying went, the layman watches the show, the expert watches the skill. The few teachers of the Tianyuan Academy who taught refining looked very solemn. The refining techniques of the students of the Nether Academy were very experienced, and one look was enough to tell that they had gone through years of training. Compared to the Tianyuan Academy, although their speed was fast, their techniques were obviously much more clumsy. The result of this competition was not optimistic. After 6 hours, the 10 participants had completed their repairs. Some had relaxed expressions, while others had solemn expressions. The 10 instructors of the evaluation began to grade. They had already made a mental demon oath beforehand, so there was no need to worry about cheating. The results were announced very quickly. The first place of the competition was obtained by the Nether Academy's Chinin, and the Nether Academy obtained the victory of the artifact refining competition. Compared to the first place being obtained by the Nether Academy, what made the Tianyuan Academy even more embarrassed was that only one student named Feng Yutong obtained the 4th place in the Tianyuan Academy, while the other 4 were actually ranked in the last 4 places. Chapter 14-13 Array Formation Competition. The people of the Netherworld continent who were watching from below the stage immediately became complacent. TSK, weren't you guys bragging just now? Why aren't you bragging now? Do they still have the face to brag? If I were them, I would just find a hole and crawl into it. Exactly, it's really embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed for you guys. To think that only one person managed to squeeze into the top 5. And the remaining 4 people actually ranked at the bottom. Your Tianyuan continent's refining level is really not something to be praised. The people from the Tianyuan continent also felt that they had lost face, but they could not show weakness, so they said, "Humph, it's only the first round. In the next array competition, I'll let you guys see the prowess of our Tianyuan Academy." That's right. Visitors are guests. We're just giving you a round. What a petty person. If you win one round, you won't know what's good for you. Bah. Amidst the bickering of the crowd, the array formation competition began. The array formation competition didn't allow the participants to make array plates on the spot. Instead, the instructors from both sides set up 10 different array formations on the stage. The participants had to pass through these array formations in order. The one who took the shortest time would be the first place. Those who did not know how to use formations could only break through the formations by force. On the other hand, those who were proficient in formations only needed to find the trapdoor of the formation and they would be able to break through easily. For the first few formations, the speed of the 10 participants was almost the same. The further they went into the formations, the more complicated they became. The speed at which the participants broke through the formations was also much slower. The people from the Tianyuan continent were very happy. This was because the fastest person was Emo-chan from the Tianyuan Academy. He had already entered the 7th formation, and the top 3 were all students from the Tianyuan Academy. The teachers and students of the Tianyuan Academy also heaved a sigh of relief. It was still acceptable for them to win one battle at a time. If they were to lose both battles, it would be too much pressure for the next battle tomorrow. The dean of the Nether Academy, Setusher, revealed a cold smile on the corner of his mouth. "HMPH, do you think that you can win this array formation battle?" Jiang Xiao had the illusion-shattering pearl on him in this battle. These low-grade Earth-rank array formations could not escape the eye of the illusion-shattering pearl at all. The reason why Jiang Xiao had not exerted his strength was that he was afraid of arousing suspicion. As expected, Jiang Xiao began to exert his strength and gradually caught up. At almost the same time, he and Emo-chan entered the 10th array at the same time. Everyone's heart was immediately in their throats. Whoever could come out first would obtain the final victory. Only the first place was the key. The other rankings were all to accompany the crown prince in his studies. It was useless. Emo-chan saw that after Jiang Xiao caught up, fine beads of sweat started to appear on his forehead. His mind was a little flustered. The greatest taboo in breaking a formation was to lose one's mind. The more anxious Emo-chan was, the more he could not find the life gate of the formation. On the other side, Jiang Xiao had the illusion-shattering pearl. He easily found the location of the life gate. However, in order not to reveal any flaws, he deliberately delayed for a while before walking out of the life gate. The people of the Netherworld continent immediately cheered. "We have won again." The momentum of the people of the Tianyuan continent immediately became dispirited. They had lost 2 rounds in a row. Although the 2nd to 6th place were all from the Tianyuan Academy, in the second round of the array competition, only the first place was considered a victory. Yin Sulian said angrily, "Humph, if my sister had not been killed by that bitch Yun Chujio, she would definitely have won this round. If you want to blame someone, blame that bitch Yun Chujio." Chapter 14:14. A villain achieves success. When Feng Ming heard Yin Sulian's words, he was instantly enraged. "Yin Sulian, do you have a conscience? If it wasn't for junior sister Little Nine, you would have long been killed by the people of the Netherworld Hall. How could you still slander junior sister Little Nine in such a manner?" Moreover, the life and death arena was brought up by Yin Xinlian herself. Her death was her own fault. Many of the second-grade students cast reproachful gazes at Yin Sulian. They were able to come out safely from the Misty Valley because they had directly or indirectly received Yun Chujio's help. Naturally, they were very dissatisfied with Yin Sulian's words. Seeing that she had offended the public, Yin Sulian could only act tough on the inside and say, "Why are all of you looking at me? Didn't I say that in order for our Tianyuan Academy to win?" The crowd could not afford to provoke the Yin family. Seeing that Yin Sulian had changed her words, they did not pursue the matter any further and looked towards the stage. The result of the competition was without any suspense. This round of the array competition was still the Netherworld Academy's victory. As the sky gradually darkened, the host announced that the competition would continue on the second day. Si Tushar walked to Dean Huangfu's side with a fake smile. He said, "Dean Huangfu, I'm really sorry. We accidentally won 2 rounds. In this first stage, 5 rounds and 3 wins, your Tianyuan Academy is probably doomed. If you lose tomorrow's alchemy competition TSK, I think there's no need for talismans and beast taming to compete anymore. Saves a lot of time." Dean Huangfu said indifferently, "Si Tushar, I feel that you have vividly interpreted an idiom." Si Tushar snorted coldly, "What idiom? I've achieved success. The competition has just begun. We'll see tomorrow." After Dean Huangfu said that, he directly left. Si Tushar was so angry that his face turned red. This Huangfu Zhongheng was originally difficult to deal with, but his mouth was not so bad. Now this old man's words were really too bad. However, no matter how good your mouth was, it was useless. We have already won 2 matches. As long as we win 1 more match, you will lose the first stage of the competition. Let's see how you will still have the face to show off then. When Dean Huangfu returned to the Tianyuan Academy's headquarters, the heads of all the major factions had already come over. This was a matter that concerned the Tianyuan continent's face. Losing 2 matches in a row was really too embarrassing. Of course, even though they were feeling anxious in their hearts, they still maintained a calm expression on their faces. After all, they had seen many storms before. What's more, this was only the first phase of the competition. Even if they really lost, there was still the second phase of the competition. More importantly, although Dean Huangfu was only the dean of the Tianyuan Academy, but he was able to stand on equal footing with them. It wouldn't be good for them to give Dean Huangfu any face. Di Linhan coughed. "Dean Huangfu, since today's competition has already ended, there's no need for us to say anything more. Do you have confidence in the upcoming competition?" Dean Huangfu laughed bitterly. "Everyone, to tell you the truth, ever since your esteemed self and young master Wuji graduated, the Tianyuan Academy has never seen any outstanding figures. Yun Chujia's talent wasn't bad, but unfortunately, she went missing. And that Lan Luochen didn't return to the academy for a long time, so the academy had to bear with the pain and expel him." Dean Huangfu's words didn't seem like he was answering the question, but everyone naturally understood the underlying meaning. Dean Huangfu didn't have the confidence to win. Yin Qinghua, the head of the Yin family, hated Yun Chuzhou to death. He snorted coldly. "Even if Yun Chuzhou is here, what's the use? Does she know how to refine pills or make talismans? Or can she tame beasts? Not to mention that her spiritual power is so low." Chapter 14-15. Di Linhan's face immediately darkened. "Family head Yin, I know that you have always been dissatisfied with little ninth girl, but is it appropriate for you to belittle a junior like this? Please be careful with your words." Yin Qinghua snorted coldly and did not say a word, thinking to himself that since that wretched girl was already dead, he did not need to go against Di Linhan because of this. Qin Yixiao from the Guiyuan sect laughed and said, "Let's think of a countermeasure for tomorrow. If we lose the alchemy competition, then our Tianyuan continent will lose the first phase of the competition completely." The Medicine King Valleys by Li Qingtian laughed out loud. "You can rest assured on this point. Although Yenner's spiritual power is not too high, but her alchemy skills are still passable. I reckon that defeating the people from the Netherworld Academy will not be a problem." It was only now that everyone remembered. That's right, there was still Bailey Yen. Bailey Yen was Bailey Qingshan's most doted granddaughter. From a young age, she had revealed her talent in alchemy. Bailey Qingtian had been carefully grooming her, and it was said that she was now a level 10 alchemist. Baile's Medicine King is right. Tomorrow at least we will win the alchemy match. This way, even if we lose the beast taming and talisman, we won't lose too badly. Yin Qinghua echoed. The Yin clan had already offended the Temple of Immortals. He naturally wanted to build good relations with other factions, so his words more or less had the intention of pleasing Bai Li. Everyone discussed for a while, but they didn't come up with any good countermeasures. After all, the competition was tomorrow, And even if they learned it now, it would still be too late. This night, many people in the Tianyuan continent didn't sleep well. They were all worried about the competition the next day. If they lost the pill refinement competition, they would be disgraced by the Netherworld continent's 3 o'clock score. The next day, when the sky had just brightened, everyone had already gathered at the competition venue. At this moment, someone exclaimed, "Look! There seems to be another heavenly fire descending from the distance. It can't be another large-scale heavenly fire, right?" It's true. But there seem to be only a few balls of heavenly fire. It's probably just a small-scale heavenly fire. It's not a big deal. Anyway, it won't burn up. It'll extinguish itself in a while. The crowd discussed a few more words, and then they no longer took it to heart. They began to discuss about the upcoming competition. I didn't expect the Tianyuan Academy to actually lose 2 rounds. It really makes me lose face. Who said so? The Tianyuan Academy has always claimed to be the best academy in our Tianyuan continent. I didn't expect them to be all good-looking and useless. If we lose today's alchemy competition again, we'll lose the first phase of the competition. Yeah, if we let the Netherworld Academy score a 3 o'clock, that would be really embarrassing. Don't be so pessimistic. I heard that the alchemy competition this time will be attended by the granddaughter of the Medicine King, Bai Liyan. Bai Liyan is already a level 10 alchemist at such a young age. She will definitely be able to obtain first place. Really? Hearing what you said, there is still some hope. After all, the reputation of the Medicine King Bai Li is out there. Naturally, his granddaughter is also powerful. Hearing the discussions of the crowd, Bai Liyan clenched her fists tightly. She would definitely be able to win. She was not only representing the Tianyuan Academy, but also the Medicine King Valley's face. Seeing that it was about time, the host jumped onto the high platform. Just as he was about to announce the start of the pill refining competition, he saw a black dot flying over from afar. He was puzzled. Could it be a demonic bird? Logically speaking, there were quite a number of mighty figures here, and even demonic birds should have avoided them. Why would they fly over in this direction? Chapter 14-16. Yun Chujio, and back the crowd below the stage also noticed the black dot flying over. As the black dot grew larger and larger, they could vaguely see that it was a person flying over. However, that person was not riding a sword. Instead, he was sitting on something and seemed to be chewing on something in his hand. After 15 minutes, the crowd finally saw that it was a large chopping board flying over. On it sat a beautiful little girl who was chewing on a spirit fruit in her hand. The little girl threw away the fruit core in her hand and then waved a red silk thread as she shouted in a clear and bright voice, "Hey! Yun Chujio have returned." Di Linhan immediately stood up from his chair. Ever since Yun Chujio went missing, not only Di Baiming, but even Di Linhan and the palace master's wife were very worried. Now that Yun Chujio had returned safely, he was very comforted in his heart and hurriedly sent a voice transmission talisman to Di Baiming, who was guarding the Hall of Immortals. A bewitching middle-aged man sitting next to Di Linhan heard Yun Chujio shout and also looked towards Yun Chujio. This was the Yun Chujio who had made my son fall head over heels for her? The students of the Tianyuan Academy cheered. And even some rogue cultivators who had been to the Misty Valley cheered as well. The people of the Netherworld continent were very puzzled. Wasn't this just a little girl at the 5th level of the spirit sect? Was there a need for the people of Tianyuan Academy to be so excited? The people of the Netherworld Hall knew the reason. They hated Yun Chujio to death. Yun Chujio had already ruined their plans twice, and this time, she had appeared at a critical moment. Could it be that she was going to ruin our plans again? Although Vice Palace Master Lu had seen Yun Chujio's portrait before, this was the first time he had seen Yun Chujio in person. After sizing her up, he was very puzzled. Although this little girl seemed to be rather quick-witted, but how could she be so capable? To kill more than 300 people of the Netherworld Palace? How was this possible? The eyes of the Saintess of the Netherworld Palace had always been unperturbed. At this moment she frowned slightly, but very quickly, she regained her calm and composed expression. Shinvi. Yun Chujio jumped down from the chopping board and first jumped in front of Di Linhan. "Uncle-in-law, how have you been? Little Jo sends her regards to you." When Di Linhan saw Yun Chujo bow in a pretentious manner, the corners of his eyes twitched and he said in a low voice, "It's good that you are all right. Come and see me after the competition." Yun Chujo nodded her head and then gave a proper bow to the heads of the other factions. Although some of those mighty figures had never seen Yun Chujo before, but when they saw her call Di Linhan uncle-in-law, they then thought of the matter in the Misty Valley. They all expressed their concern in a friendly manner. Of course, Yin Qinghua was naturally not included in this. He was so angry that he was about to die. This damned girl was really lucky she hadn't died yet. Damn it. Yun Chujo bowed to the higher-ups and then to Dean Huangfu. "Dean, I'm back. It's good that you're back, it's good that you're back. Come back to the team, the competition will start soon." Dean Huangfu felt a little sour in his nose. Although this little girl had destroyed his courtyard time and time again. At that time when he heard that this little girl had gone missing, he was still very upset. Now that he saw that she had returned safely, he was very happy. Feng Ming and the other two were so excited that tears welled up in their eyes. These 3 months were like years to them. Now that they saw that Yun Chujo was alive and kicking, the guilt in their hearts finally eased a little. Chapter 14-17. Fire-repelling Pearl. The second-year students of Tianyuan Academy came over to greet Yun Chujo. Although they inevitably had human weaknesses such as greed and selfishness, but at the very least they knew how to be grateful. If it wasn't for Yun Chujo, they would have been killed by the people of the Netherworld Palace long ago. When Yin Sulian saw that not only did Yun Chujo not die, but also gained a higher prestige, the jealousy and resentment in her heart spread like poisonous weeds. She rolled her eyes. She said mockingly, "Yun Chujo, haven't you always thought of yourself as smart? Now is a good opportunity for you to become famous in the world. Our Tianyuan Academy has already lost 2 rounds of the armament refining and array formation competition. If we lose this round of pill refining, then the first phase of the competition will be completely lost. If you have the ability, you can go on stage and participate in the pill refining competition. If you can get first place in the pill refining competition, then I, Yin Sulian, will definitely not find trouble with you from now on." Many students could not bear to hear this. "Yin Sulian, you are simply finding trouble. Yun Chujo has never learned alchemy. How can she participate in the alchemy competition?" "That's right, Yin Sulian, what kind of trick are you playing? I think you want to avenge your sister, so you framed Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo, don't pay attention to her. If you were a beast controller you could go up, but you did not choose to practice alchemy, so it would be useless to go up. Right, just treat her as if she is talking nonsense. Don't pay attention to her." Yun Chujo was confused. She really didn't know why these people gathered here. That day, she threatened the little skeleton to send her out of the Misty Valley. The little skeleton was forced to run straight into the wall. After thinking hard for a few days, he finally thought of a solution. "Little fairy, there is a burning sky plane at the border between your Tianyuan continent and the Netherworld continent. There will be occasional heavenly flames there. The source of those heavenly flames is a volcano in the void. The occasional fireballs will pass through the void and arrive at the burning sky plane. I will send you to the crater of the volcano. When you find that there are fireballs coming out, you will sit on the fireballs and you will naturally be able to return to the Tianyuan continent." Yun Chujo was so angry that she kicked the little skeleton into pieces. "You little skeleton, what kind of bullshit method is this? You even sent me to the crater of the volcano? You even made me sit on the fireball? You are afraid that I won't be able to die, aren't you? You want me to directly turn into volcanic ash, aren't you?" The little skeleton repeatedly begged for mercy. "Little fairy, don't be anxious. Listen to me. I want to hear what you have to say. If what you say doesn't satisfy me, I will throw your parts into the poisonous spring." "Little fairy, of course you can't go like this, but I have an immortal item. After you activate it, not to mention the volcano's flames, even the 10,000-year-old fire marrow won't be able to burn you to death." The little skeleton wanted to cry, but no tears came out. "This is really asking for the gods to send the gods away easily. I'm really unlucky. That immortal item was obtained with great difficulty, but now it was given to the little girl. Yoon Chujio's eyes immediately lit up. There's such a good treasure? Take it out, let me try. The little skeleton took out a bead with a pained expression. Little fairy, this is the fire-repelling bead. Legend has it that it's an immortal item refined from the inner core of the Nine Heavens ice dragon. Once you activate it, you won't be afraid of being burned by fire. After Yoon Chujio took it, it was ice cold in her hands. She looked at it and still couldn't believe that such a small bead could ward off fire. Therefore, she summoned the little black bird. Xiao Hanyo, spray a fireball on me. I will try the power of this so-called fire-repelling bead. Chapter 14:18. I will participate in the competition. Xiao Hanyo stared at Yoon Chujio with its pizzazed eyes, and threw out a purple fireball. Xiao Hanyo covered its mouth in surprise. Oh my god! How could this black fire-spitting crow spew out a fireball with the power of lightning? Could it be? At this moment, Xiao Hanyo's fireball had already rushed towards Yoon Chujio. But miraculously, the fireball was less than 3 feet away from Yoon Chujio, as if it had encountered some kind of barrier and could not take another step forward. After a moment, it landed on the ground dejectedly. Xiao Hanyo spat out a few more fireballs, but they were all blocked by the fire-repelling pearl 3 feet away from Yoon Chujio. Yoon Chujio said with a beaming smile, "Little skeleton, your fire-repelling pearl is indeed not bad. Thank you very much." When the little skeleton heard Yoon Chujio speaking so politely to it, it was almost moved to tears. Damn, it was not easy. The little pervert actually said thank you to me. Little skeleton, if that's the case, you can send me to that volcano. Little fairy, not now. We will only meet up with that volcano in about 3 months. At that time I can send you to that volcano. Yoon Chujio nodded. 3 months was not bad. It was better than being trapped in this misty valley. Therefore, Yoon Chujio and the little skeleton had been neighbors for 3 months. Naturally, they had cheated the little skeleton many times. Yoon Chujio thought to herself, this little skeleton really did not have a brain. It was too easy to cheat. The little skeleton counted with its fingers every day. It wished that it could send this little devil away as soon as possible. Sob. If she does not leave now, I will let her cheat my little family. Finally, 3 months had passed. The little skeleton couldn't wait to send Yoon Chujio away. Yoon Chujio only felt a dazzling white light flash past. When she opened her eyes again, she was already on top of a huge volcano. Yoon Chujio, this thief, didn't leave empty-handed. She saw a few blood-red spiritual herbs growing near the volcano. She used a kitchen knife to dig them up and kept them in her storage ring. As soon as she finished digging up the spiritual herbs, a fireball began to spray out from the crater. Yoon Chujio used the 10,000-year-old black iron chain to fix herself onto a large fireball. Only then did she drift down to the burning sky plains. Yoon Chujio saw that there were a lot of people here when she was in midair. That was why she sat on the chopping board and rushed over. Therefore, she was completely confused about the situation here. Feng Ming briefly told Yoon Chujio about the matter, and Yoon Chujio touched her chin thoughtfully. Een Sulian saw that Yoon Chujio was silent. She curled her lips. Aren't you powerful? You don't dare to go up, right? Humph. You think you're so great, and you even greet them one by one with great fanfare. You don't even look at your own identity. You're just a pheasant that has flown up to the branches. Do you really think you're a phoenix? Een Sulian saw that those mighty figures were all amiable to Yoon Chujio, so she was very jealous and said these words. What she did not expect was. Yoon Chujio touched her chin and said, Een Sulian, although your brain has never been very good, I have to say that you have finally done the right thing this time. You are right. This is a good opportunity for me to become famous. I want to participate in this alchemy competition. Not only do I want to participate in this competition, but I also want to participate in the talisman and beast controlling competition. Everyone thought that Yoon Chujio was most likely crazy. If you wanted to participate in the beast taming competition, it would be okay. No matter what, you had been studying for a year and a half. However, you had never learned alchemy and talismans. Wouldn't you be adding to the chaos if you went up? Chapter 14:19. Yun Chujia's alchemy furnace Fengming and the other two were somewhat confident. They knew that Yun Chuzhou knew how to concoct pills in the Tianyuan continent. The Heaven and Earth marrow cleansing pill that she had given them was a high-grade pill. As for the talisman seals, she had given them a huge stack of them. She even said that they were her family's property. It was likely that little ninth junior sister had drawn them herself. There was no need to mention beast taming. Even if junior sister Little Nine's beast taming skills could not be compared to others, she might be able to trick the demon beasts into her hands. Everyone tried to dissuade her. Yun Chuzhou winked at them. Anyway, aren't there 5 spots? It's not a big deal for me to occupy one spot. I'll go talk to the dean. Everyone watched helplessly as Yun Chuzhou hopped to Dean Huangfu and looked at Yin Sulian with reproachful eyes. Yin Sulian snorted coldly. I didn't use my sword to force her. What does it have to do with me if her legs are on her body? Everyone dared to be angry but didn't dare to say anything. They could only turn their gazes towards Dean Huangfu. They felt that even if Yun Chuzhou were to cause trouble, Dean Huangfu wouldn't agree to it. What they didn't expect was that Yun Chuzhou had activated the isolation disc. They didn't know what she had said to Dean Huangfu, but Dean Huangfu had actually waved at a boy who was preparing to participate in the pill refining competition. The boy didn't understand what was going on. After walking up to Dean Huangfu said, "Let Yun Chuzhou have your spot in the alchemy competition this time. In order to make up for your loss, you will be rewarded with 200 academy contribution points." The boy couldn't ask for more. The pressure in his heart was very great. If he lost this round, he wouldn't be able to raise his head in the Tianyuan Academy in the future. Since Yun Chuzhou was willing to go up and embarrass herself, why wouldn't he agree? Moreover, he still had 200 academy contribution points. Thus, Dean Huangfu asked the instructor to inform the host and the referee that the candidates for the pill refining competition had changed. Bailey Yin saw that Yun Chuzhou had replaced that male student, and she despised Yun Chuzhou in her heart. This Yun Chuzhou was really relying on the wife of the hall master to misbehave. She actually dared to misbehave at such an important occasion, just waiting to be embarrassed. The elixirs refined in this competition would definitely not be lower than grade 8. Even if Yun Chuzhou had learned to refine elixirs in the Qingxian mainland, she would at most be able to refine grade 5 or grade 6 elixirs. She really overestimated herself. When Di Linhan saw that Yun Chuzhou had followed the team up to the competition stage, the corners of his eyes twitched violently. This little girl was really causing trouble. You don't even know how to refine elixirs. What are you going up for? Aren't you just trying to embarrass yourself? The middle-aged man who was sitting beside Di Linhan was Xue Wuji's father, Xue Ruthless. He frowned slightly. This Yun Chuzhou really did not know how to behave. Was such an important occasion a place for you to mess around? No wonder Wuji was able to take a fancy to her. It turned out that they were all messing around. The Netherworld Palace had also discovered that the Tianyuan Academy had temporarily replaced Yun Chuzhou. They sneered in their hearts. This Yun Chuzhou really thought that she was omnipotent? She was really asking for humiliation. The host saw that everyone who had participated in the competition had already arrived, so he announced the content of the alchemy competition. To refine a grade 8 bone healing pill, the time limit was 2 hours. Different grades of medicinal pills had different points. If the points were the same, then those who used less time would be ranked at the front. Yun Chuzhou did not use the Heaven and Earth furnace. The pretty boy had once said that this thing was a treasure, so it was better for her not to take it out. Moreover, for grade 8 medicinal pills, it was enough to use an ordinary alchemy furnace. Therefore, the alchemy furnaces that the other 9 people took out were either immortal or high-grade spirit tools. Only Yun Chuzhou took out the cheapest low-grade alchemy furnace. Chapter 1420 Forgot to wash the pot. One of the students from the Huang class exclaimed, "Oh my God! I know that alchemy furnace. The class monitor often uses it to wash the hot pot." Almost everyone heard the student's words and their eyes all focused on Yun Chuzhou's alchemy furnace. They were extremely sure that the student was telling the truth, because there was a vegetable leaf stuck on the outside of the alchemy furnace. Yun Chuzhou calmly used her hand to pull off the vegetable leaf. Then, as if nothing had happened, she waited for the host to announce the start of the competition. The crowd instantly exploded. Heavens! Is there no one left in Tianyuan Academy? Why did they send such a product up there? This alchemy furnace is not only a low-grade one, but it is also used to bathe in hot pot. Can it be used to concoct pills? That's right, this is simply nonsense. What is Dean Huangfu thinking? Why would he send her up to participate in the alchemy competition? That's right, although this Yun Chujo has made contributions in the Misty Valley, but we can't just let her do whatever she wants just because of this, right? Oh, Yin Qinghua said with a look of schadenfreude, Hall Master. Yun Chujo is really a genius in the alchemy world. She actually used an alchemy furnace to wash the hot pot. I have really opened my eyes. Di Linhan looked at him and said, Family head Yin, little Jo has always been very frugal. She is not like your Yin family who just gave 1/10 of the spirit stone mine to our Hall of Longevity. She is really generous. Yin Qinghua was so angry that his face turned red. Di Linhan had just taken advantage of him and was just trying to show off. He was really hateful. HMPitch, once the competition ends, Yun Chujo will lose face and your Hall of Longevity will be implicated as well. Let's see how you are going to show off then. Although Di Linhan did not show it on the surface, he was actually very uncertain in his heart. He thought to himself, what is little Jo trying to do? Are you going up there to make others look serious? It was at this moment that Yun Chujo raised up her claws weakly and said, Host, I seem to have forgotten to wash the pot after eating the hot pot last time. Can I brush my alchemy furnace first? Di Linhan was so angry that his nose was almost crooked. You little foodie. Are you going up there to be funny? As expected, the people from the Netherworld continent were laughing so hard that they were sprawled on the ground. The 5 students from the Netherworld Academy, who were participating in the competition, revealed looks of disdain. Looks like the Tianyuan Academy is really not worthy of its name. What the hell is going on up here? Are they here to play? The MC could be considered to have gone through a lot, but this was the first time a contestant had made such a request. Hence she looked at the judges. It was also the first time the 10 judges had encountered such a situation. After some discussion she said, sure. Therefore, Yun Chujo took out a basin of water from her storage ring, took out a brush, and began to clean the alchemy furnace. Everyone looked at the scene in front of them with a dumbfounded look. Why did they suddenly have the illusion that the people on the stage were not competing in alchemy but in cooking? After a full quarter of an hour, Yun Chujo finally cleaned the alchemy furnace. After wiping it with a clean cloth, she then said with a smile, I'm done cleaning. Judges, if I get first place later, you won't use me as a scapegoat, right? The 10 judges snorted in disdain almost at the same time. You got first place? If you got first place, would you let the other alchemists live? Which alchemist didn't cherish the alchemy furnace like a treasure? Only a weirdo like you would use it as a hot pot. There was really no one else. However, since Yun Chujo had asked, they naturally had to answer. Thus they said, you only used clean water to wash it. Naturally, you won't lose your results because of this. You can rest assured and just compete. Chapter 1421. She was cooking when Yun Chujo heard the referee say that. She then said with a grin, then I will be at ease. I am just afraid that if I really get first place, some people will find fault with me. After all, at such a young age, having such heaven-defying talent in alchemy is really too unbelievable. Some people almost vomited. Emma. This person was so narcissistic that there was no one else. The corners of Di Linhan's eyes twitched violently. My son's taste is indeed unique. At the side, Shueli had the same thought in his heart. Could it be that Wuji likes this kind of style? No wonder the women I arranged for him a few days ago did not like it. Looks like I have to help him find such a woman in the future. But with such thick skin, I'm afraid there aren't many of them in the Tianyuan continent, right? The host coughed dryly. Since Yun Chujia's pot. The alchemy furnace has been cleaned. The competition has officially begun. The competition will last for 2 hours, And the refining of the pills will be called the bone recovery pill. Following the host's command, the contestants on the stage began to warm up the alchemy furnace and began to refine the pills. Only Yoon Chujio was slow and unhurried. Her movements were more than twice as slow as the other contestants. The crowd immediately began to discuss among themselves. I think that Yoon Chujio doesn't know how to refine pills at all. She just went up to show off. That's right. She was set to finish refining within 2 hours. In my opinion, it would be impossible for her to successfully refine pills by then. She would probably only be able to make a cauldron of spirit medicine juice. However, it's a good thing that our Tianyuan Academy still has Bailey Yan. Look at how skilled her movements are. She will definitely be able to defeat Netherworld Academy in this round. Dean Huangfu's heart was about to collapse. Little ancestor, didn't you say with a face full of certainty that you know how to refine pills? I had to make a great deal of determination before I believed you. You aren't really going up to cause trouble, right? At this moment, the other contestants had already placed all the herbs into the pill refining furnace. They also closed the lid of the pill refining furnace and began to refine. Only Yoon Chujio was still putting spirit herbs into the furnace one by one. It was so slow that it was as if she had not eaten. Actually, this fellow's heart was bitter. Was it easy for me? If I did not stall for time like this, I would have finished refining the pills in less than 15 minutes. Wouldn't that be too eye-catching? So I had to stall for time. I reckon that if I used an hour to refine it, it would not be so eye-catching. After the other contestants had already refined for 15 minutes, Yoon Chujio then placed all the spirit herbs into the alchemy furnace. She did not even close the lid of the alchemy furnace. She just left the lid open to refine. Everyone was speechless. Why did it seem like Yoon Chujio was cooking porridge? Were you afraid that the medicinal juice would overflow? And you even opened the lid to refine pills? 99% of the people thought that Yoon Chujio was messing around. This little girl was really too jumpy. Was she messing around in such a situation? She was really too much. At this moment, everyone was stunned by Yoon Chujio's next action. They saw Yoon Chujio pick up a purple gold vine, break off a section, and throw it into the alchemy furnace. After a while, she threw in another 2 stalks of purple garden grass. Oh my god! This Yoon Chujio really seems to be making porridge. I've never seen anyone add medicinal herbs in the middle of refining pills. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen it. Could it be that she thinks that refining pills is like frying vegetables, adding salt when it's light and sugar when it's sour? Haha, maybe you're right. I don't think Yoon Chujio knows alchemy at all. She's just frying vegetables. Chapter 1422. I have completed the refinement. Dean Huangfu's heart turned cold. It was over. He had been tricked by this little girl Yoon Chujio. She didn't know how to refine pills at all. She was purely going up to play. Forget it. Anyway, the boy who had been replaced was average at refining pills. Even if he were to go up, he wouldn't be able to get first place. Yoon Chujio could do whatever she wanted. Apart from Feng Ming and the other two, no one else was optimistic about Yoon Chujio. They all thought that Yoon Chujio was just messing around. Even Vice Palace Master Lu of the Netherworld Palace curled his lips. This Yoon Chujio was obviously a little girl who was messing around. Dharma Protector Tao and Dharma Protector Lin must have been careless, otherwise how could they have been killed by such a little girl? The other 9 contestants held their breaths and concentrated on refining. Yoon Chujio finally closed the lid of the alchemy furnace. After about 15 minutes, this fellow raised his claws. Host, I've finished refining. Record it down. I was the first to finish refining. If there's someone with the same points as me later, remember that I'm number 1. Only one thought flashed through Dean Huangfu's mind. It's over. This fellow was just going up to cause trouble. Even if he was an amateur, he knew that refining the bone restoration pill would take at least an hour. Although an hour had already passed, Yoon Chujio had been dawdling all this while. The actual refining time was only half an hour. How could she possibly refine a pill? In Qinghua said with a fake smile, Palace Lord, this Yoon Chujio is really... TSK, she really dares to say it. She actually said that she had finished refining it? I think that the only thing in her pill refining furnace is the spirit medicine juice. Maybe some of the spirit medicines have not even been refined into juice. Di Linhan thought the same in his heart, but on the surface he said indifferently, when the results are announced in a while, we will naturally know what is in her pill refining furnace. You have repeatedly targeted a junior, don't you feel embarrassed? Shweli said faintly, Patriarch Een, you have really broadened my horizons. You are the patriarch of the Een family, but you have mocked a little girl time and time again. Een Qinghua's face turned red from the ridicule of Di Linhan and Shweli. He thought to himself, wasn't this Shweli always on bad terms with Di Linhan? Why was he also speaking up for that damned Yun Chuzhou? It was really detestable. Seeing that the host had finished recording, Yun Chuzhou simply took out a reclining chair and sat down on it. She closed her eyes to rest as she basked in the sun, as relaxed as she could be. Everyone could only curse in their hearts. Your heart is really big. This was a competition that concerned the reputation of the Tianyuan continent, and you are taking it so lightly? Di Linhan frowned slightly. Logically speaking, little Jiu should not be such a child who did not know her limits. What was going on? Could it be that she had really completed the refinement? Or could it be that she had been stimulated in the Misty Valley this time, and her brain was not working properly? Di Linhan suddenly thought of the matter of Yun Chuzhou bowing to him. Good heavens, could it be that this child had really been stimulated? After another quarter of an hour, a student from the Netherworld Academy indicated that the refinement had been completed, followed closely by Bailey Yan. Following that, the other 7 people also completed the refinement. When the 10 judges saw that the contestants had completed the refinement, they stood up and began to check the condition of the medicinal pills of everyone in turn. According to the order in which the workstations were placed, the judges began to check. Coincidentally, Yun Chuzhou was the last one. In order to show respect to the judges, this fellow put away his chair and stood there to watch the show. Chapter 1423 Tianyuan Academy was just SOSO due to the fear of cheating among the contestants. The rankings of the contestants were intersected. In other words, a contestant from the Nether Academy would be followed by a contestant from Tianyuan Academy. At the very front was a student from the Nether Academy. The referee gestured for him to open the lid of the alchemy furnace and conduct an examination. After the referee had examined the results, the host announced the results loudly. Nether Academy, Lu Qian, 80% completion rate. 4 high-grade pills, 2 middle-grade pills, 2 low-grade pills, 30 points. When the crowd heard Lu Qian's results, their reactions were not very enthusiastic. This result was basically considered normal. It was impossible for him to be ranked first. The referee began to examine the pills of the next students from the Tianyuan Academy. Very soon, the host announced the results loudly. Tianyuan Academy Zheng Lizzie, pill success rate 80%, 3 high-grade pills, 3 middle-grade pills, 2 low-grade pills, 28 points. Very soon the results of the first 7 people were announced. The points were almost the same. Everyone knew that the candidate for the first place should be chosen between the next 2 people. As for Yun Chuzhou, no one counted her as one of them. The next 2 people, one was Bailey Yan from Tianyuan Academy, and the other was Feng Ao from the Nether Academy. Feng Ao's Feng family was famous for alchemy in the Nether continent, so Feng Ao was very confident in his alchemy skills. Moreover, he was the first to complete the alchemy compared to Bailey Yan. Even if the 2 people had the same results, he would still win. Bailey Yan felt that she had performed well today, but when she saw the confident look on Feng Ao's face, she was a little uncertain. The judge motioned for Bailey Yan to open the lid of the alchemy furnace. After Bailey Yan opened the lid, the judges could not help but exclaim when they saw the situation inside. The crowd below the competition stage knew that Bailey Yan's results must be pretty good. Otherwise, the judge would not be so surprised. As expected, the host announced excitedly, Tianyuan Academy, Bailey Yan pill success rate 100%. All high-grade pills 50 points. Everyone immediately exploded. Heavens! A 100% pill success rate isn't scary. What's scary is that they're all high-grade pills. This is too heaven-defying. Bailey Yan is the granddaughter of Bailey Yao Wang. It's not surprising that she has such pill refining talent. This round, our Tianyuan Academy should be able to take back a city. The people from the Netherworld continent curled their lips and said, "You're celebrating too early. Don't forget, Feng Yao's results haven't been announced yet. If his results are the same as Bailey Yan's, then the first place will also be his because he uses less time than Bailey Yan." That's right. The results haven't been announced yet, and he's already starting to show off. How shameless. When Feng Yao's results are out in a while, let's see how you can show off. At this time, the referee had already walked in front of Feng Yao's workbench and indicated for him to open the lid of the alchemy furnace. Feng Yao confidently opened the lid of the alchemy furnace. When the referees saw the situation inside, they couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. There were actually 10 high-grade pills inside. Bailey Yan's heart sank when she saw the judge's performance. Could it be that Feng Yao also had 10 high-grade pills? Fine beads of sweat began to seep out from her forehead. Her hands were tightly clenched together under her sleeves, and she felt as if her entire heart was in her throat. At this moment, the host announced loudly, "Netherworld Academy, Feng Yao, the pill success rate is 100%. All of them are high-grade pills. 50 points." The people of the Netherworld continent immediately began to cheer. We won. 3 o'clock. It was too awesome. Tianyuan Academy was only SOSO. Chapter 1424. Don't be scared. When the people of the Tianyuan Academy, and even the entire Tianyuan continent heard Feng Yao's results, their heads buzzed. It's over, they lost this round again. Although the points were the same, Feng Yao's time was even shorter. Feng Yao was the first place. Bailey Yan's face was deathly pale. She knew that she had lost. She was just a little bit short of missing the first place. If she had been just a little bit faster, she would have been the pride of the Tianyuan continent. But now, she could only become the laughingstock of the Tianyuan continent. By Li Qingtian sighed slightly. Fate was also a blessing in disguise. Yan Er's alchemy skills might not be inferior to Feng Yao, but she had truly lost this competition. The people of the Netherworld continent began to celebrate their victory. Wasn't it great to sweep through the Tianyuan Academy with a score of 3 o'clock? Si Tushi's old face was smiling like a flower. Huangfu Zhongheng, aren't you a good talker? Let's see what else you have to say this time. You were actually beaten by us to a score of 3 o'clock. Ha ha ha, it wasn't a waste of my many years of planning. The people of the Tianyuan continent were dejected. It seemed like they could only hope for the spiritual power competition tomorrow. If they lost again in the spiritual power competition, it would be a huge loss of face. At this moment, they heard someone shouting on the competition stage, "Hey, there's still me. What's the meaning of walking back? I'm not human." Everyone looked up. It turned out that those referees had finished checking Feng Yao's results and were preparing to leave the stage. Yun Chuzhou was throwing a tantrum. Those referees looked at each other. In fact, they really didn't do it on purpose. After checking Feng Yao's results, they also felt sorry for Bailey Yan. In their hearts, the results of the competition had already been decided, therefore, they also ignored the fact that there was still a good-for-nothing like Yun Chuzhou. As for the host, he saw that Bailey Yan's face was pale and was on the verge of collapse. His attention was also slightly distracted, so he didn't manage to guide the judges to continue moving forward in time. In a muddle-headed manner, the scene in front of him was created. The host and the judges walked in front of Yun Chuzhi's workbench with embarrassed expressions. They all had the same thoughts in their hearts. What difference would it make whether they looked at it or not? If we don't look at you, it would be less embarrassing. In such a short period of time, I'm afraid that this alchemy furnace only has the medicinal juice of some spirit herbs. Little girl, open the lid of your alchemy furnace, said one of the judges. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, okay. However, you have to be mentally prepared. Don't scare all of you. After all, my talent is really too scary. The 10 referees were all angry and happy. No one could be so narcissistic. They didn't know where this little girl's confidence came from. She even scared us? We have experienced all kinds of storms. How could you scare us? Besides, what you have here is just some medicinal juice. What's so scary about it? Just open it. Hurry up. One of the referees said impatiently. Since all of you are mentally prepared, then I will open it. Ding 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 ding. All of you have your eyes on it. Yun Chujio suddenly lifted the lid of the alchemy furnace. When the judge standing at the front saw the situation inside the alchemy furnace, he sat down on the ground with a thud. The other judges could not help but grumble in their hearts. What was wrong with old Chow? Just some medicinal juice can scare him to this extent? Therefore, they all went over to take a look. Then all of them were dumbstruck. A few of them even pointed at Yun Chujio with a slight tremble, but they were actually unable to say a word. Chapter 1425 Yun Chujio was first place. The people below the competition stage were extremely curious. What was going on? Why were all the judges dumbfounded? What was going on inside Yun Chujio's alchemy furnace? The host was also extremely curious. He stretched his neck and looked over. He saw that there were 10 round pills at the bottom of the alchemy furnace. 5 of them had circles of patterns on them. They looked pretty, but there was nothing special about them. The host suddenly covered his mouth. Oh my God! Pills with patterns. Then wasn't that a super-grade pill? Oh my God, not only did this little girl have a 100% success rate, but she also refined 5 super-grade pills? When the other contestants on the stage saw that the judges and the host were all dumbfounded, they all came over curiously, especially Feng Ao, who was closest to them. At this moment he was very proud. This competition had helped the Netherworld continent obtain victory. Whether it was for himself or for the Feng family, it would be of great benefit. Feng Ao felt that these referees and the hosts were really making a fuss over nothing. Yun Chujio's alchemy furnace must have some medicinal juice in it, or there might be some herbs that had not been refined into medicinal juice. Was there a need to be so scary? However, when he saw the situation inside the alchemy furnace, he immediately cried out in surprise, "No, it's impossible. This is impossible. You cheated." Yun Chujio glanced at him. Which fucking eye of yours saw me cheating? If you don't know how to speak, then don't say anything. Scram to the side. Bailey Yen also saw the situation inside the alchemy furnace at this time. She also felt that this was impossible. However, at this time, she and Yun Chujio both represented Tianyuan Academy, so they naturally chose to be on the same side as Yun Chujio. Therefore, she said, Junior Yun is right. What right do you have to say that Junior Yun cheated? Don't tell me that you can't afford to lose? Feng Ao shouted fiercely, what right do I have? She used such a short time, how could she successfully refine it? Therefore he must be cheating. Yun Chujio curled her lips. If you can't do it, does that mean that others can't do it? You don't know how to have children yet. Do you think that others are cheating when they have children? There's something really wrong with your brain. I have to suspect that you must have had dog shit luck to be able to have such results just now. You are far worse than my senior Bai Li. Although Bailey Yen felt that Yun Chujio's result was suspicious, she was very happy to hear her scold Feng Ao like that, and raise herself up. More than half of the annoyance that she had accumulated just now had disappeared. Feng Ao's face was flushed red with anger. Stupid girl, you're spouting nonsense. You're cheating. Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders and spread her hands. Whether I cheat or not, it's not up to you. Judges, announce the results. I still have to prepare for the talisman competition. The 10 judges looked at each other and took out the pills in the alchemy furnace to smell them. These pills were indeed freshly refined. It was impossible for them to be prepared in advance. Therefore, there was no such thing as cheating. No matter what. The little girl won this round. The people below the competition stage were extremely curious. What exactly was in Yun Chujio's alchemy furnace? Why were the judges and the MC all dumbfounded? And why did Feng Ao say that Yun Chuzhou was cheating? How could she cheat in front of everyone? The 10 judges discussed briefly before handing the results to the MC. The MC's voice was slightly trembling as he announced, Tianyuan Academy, Yun Chuzhou, pill success rate 100%, super 5 superior grade pills, 5 superior grade pills 125 points. This round of pill refining competition, Tianyuan Academy wins. Chapter 1426. You cheated. After the host announced Yun Chuzhou's results, there was a deliberate silence, and then there was an uproar. What the hell? Did I hear wrong? Not only did Yun Chuzhou really refine a pill, she even had a 100% success rate? And there are 5 super grade pills? Yeah, I also suspect that there's something wrong with my ears. Didn't they say that transcendent grade pills are very difficult to appear? Didn't they say that only some alchemy masters would occasionally refine a transcendent grade pill? Why didn't Yun Chuzhou produce 5 transcendent grade pills in a single pot? The most unbelievable thing is that she used the shortest amount of time. I remember that she only said that she finished refining within an hour. The people from the Tianyuan continent were more excited than surprised. However, no matter what, they had won the round of pill refining and they had finally regained some face. At this moment, the more Di Linhan looked at Yun Chuzhou, the more he liked her. That kid Bei Ming had a good eye. Little Jiu was indeed a hidden girl. This heaven pilfering switch was used well. At the side, Shueli also had the same thought. Wuji, this kid was finally reliable for once. This little girl was not bad. Although she might have used some small tricks, the process was not important. The results were the most important. Alright, including the 2 of them, almost all the mighty figures in the Tianyuan continent thought that Yun Chuzhou had used some small tricks and cheated. Thinking of this, the dean of the Nether Academy, Si Tusher, immediately protested. Judges, I think that the result is a little inappropriate. Yun Chuzhou couldn't possibly have such a high level of alchemy skills. Not to mention her, even a famous alchemy master would find it difficult to refine 5 supreme grade pills in a single batch. She must have cheated. The 10 judges frowned in displeasure. One of the elderly judges said, Dean Si Tusher, although we are not considered alchemy masters, we can still tell if Yun Chuzhou cheated. The 10 pills in the alchemy furnace are indeed newly refined. There is no possibility of her cheating. Si Tusher heard the judge say this. He snorted coldly. This Yun Chuzhou has always been crafty. She might have used some underhanded tricks to deceive you. Don't you feel suspicious? How could she have such high alchemy skills? The 10 referees were silent. Indeed, although they were certain that Yun Chuzhou did not cheat, they could not believe that Yun Chuzhou had such high alchemy skills. Yun Chuzhou had one hand on her waist. With the other hand, she pointed at Si Tusher and cursed, Pooey. Si Tusher, to think that you are the dean of the Nether Academy. You are a loser who cannot afford to lose. You won the first 2 rounds of our competition. Why didn't Dean Huangfu jump out and say that you cheated? If we were to follow your reasoning, I would have thought that you guys only got first place because you cheated in refining weapons and formations. After all, the people of the Netherworld continent are best at conspiracies and tricks, assassinations and so on. Who knows what kind of shady methods you used to get the 2 first places? Although Si Tusher felt a little guilty in his heart, he said angrily on the surface, You're talking nonsense. We got the 2 first places fair and square. Only you everyone are not convinced, isn't that right? With Si Tushi's instigation, the people of the Netherworld continent immediately echoed, saying that Yun Chuzhou was shameless and cheating. Chapter 1427. Soul Cleansing Pill. Dean Huangfu was about to stand up for Yun Chuzhou when he heard Yun Chuzhou say coldly, Si Tusher, what do you want to do by deliberately inciting everyone to pressure the judges? Si Tusher said viciously, what do you want to do? Of course, I want to expose the fact that you cheated. You are not worthy of the first place in the pill refining competition. Oh? Then what do you have to do to admit that I'm first in the pill refining competition? Tusher rolled his eyes. It's very simple. I'll tell you the name of a grade 8 pill. You can refine it again. If you can refine a transcendent grade pill, you don't have to use 5 pills. As long as you have a transcendent grade pill, it proves that you didn't cheat. The people of the Tianyuan continent immediately refused to accept it. This Tusher was too much of a bully. What right did they have to cheat just because they were first? Tusher, you are so shameless. You can't afford to lose. Chuzhou, ignore him. The first place is ours anyway. It's like a dog biting a human. We can't let humans bite dogs. At this moment, everyone heard Chuzhi's clear voice saying, Tusher, I have no obligation to prove to you that I didn't cheat. However, if we raise the stakes, I don't mind playing with you. Stakes? What stakes? Tusher stared at Chuzhou on the stage maliciously. It's very simple. If I do what you said, you'll admit your mistake in front of everyone, and compensate me with 100 million high-grade spirit stones as compensation for mental damage. If I don't succeed in refining it, I'll give up the first place in the pill refining competition. Do you dare? Chuzhou looked at Tusher provocatively. Tusher thought to himself, this stupid girl must be guilty. That's why she proposed such a difficult condition to make things difficult for me. She wants me to back down. Shempich, do you think I'll fall for it? Tusher thought of this and said to Chuzhou, why wouldn't I dare? Alright, I'll do as you say. If you succeed, I'll apologize to you in public and compensate you with 100 million upper-grade spirit stones. If you fail, HMPH, you'll give up the first place in the pill refining competition and admit that you cheated in public. Chuzhou smiled brightly. Sure, in case someone doesn't admit to it, let's make a mental demon oath. I'll go first. Heaven above, if I lose the competition and don't fulfill my promise, I'll let the heavenly lightning strike me to death. Use all your strength to strike me for 10 hours. It's your turn. You should also make a mental demon oath. The corner of Dean Huangfu's eyes twitched violently. He originally thought that Chuzhou was a little silly for agreeing to see Tushi's bet. However, after hearing Chuzhi's mental demon oath, he thought to himself that even if this little girl lost, she probably wouldn't admit to it. After all, to her, the heavenly lightning was not only a punishment but also a reward. Tusher did not know about this and swore an oath in front of everyone. Then he said proudly, the title I gave you is a level 8 soul cleansing pill. The time limit is 2 hours. When everyone heard this, they immediately exploded. Tusher had tricked Chuzhou. Chuzhou had been tricked. She was going to lose for sure. Although the soul cleansing pill was a level 8 pill, the soul cleansing pill was a pill that could repair the slight damage to one's spiritual sense. It was very strict with the control of the alchemist's fire. It was almost equivalent to a level 9 pill. However, the spirit herbs used were all black grade herbs. That was why it was classified as a grade 8 medicinal pill. The people of the Tianyuan continent all cursed Tusher for being treacherous and shameless. However, they could not find any fault with him. After all, the soul cleansing pill was indeed a grade 8 medicinal pill. Everyone complained in their hearts that Chuzhou was really too impulsive. She had already obtained the first place, but now she had to give it up. Moreover, she had to bear the reputation of cheating. It was really a huge loss. Chapter 1428 was an alchemical furnace. Di Linhan frowned slightly. What kind of medicine was this little lass trying to sell? She was usually quite clever, but why was she so stupid today? Who cares what Tusher says, just ignore him. The first place was real. If you were to win, that would naturally be very good, but if you were to lose, you would be blamed by many people. Many people had the same thoughts as Di Linhan. This Chuzhou was really smart and muddle-headed. Could it be that her brain had cramped just now? At that moment, everyone heard Chuzhou say with a smile, soul cleansing pill? I've never refined a soul cleansing pill before. The people from the Tianyuan continent almost fainted. It's over. It's over. This bet is lost for sure. Yunchujo, you said that you didn't want the first place but you had to play tricks. Now, not only did you lose the first place but you also gained the reputation of cheating. You are really seeking death by playing tricks. Situshi's heart was delighted. He said loudly, in that case, host, please announce again. The first place in the alchemy competition is Fengao. Our Nether Academy won this round, and we don't need to compete with the remaining talismans and beast taming. In the first stage, our Nether Academy won 3-0. The host hesitated for a moment and was about to make the announcement when he heard Yunchujo say, Situsher, I say that you are already so old. How can your comprehension be so poor? Did I say that I admit defeat? Situsher snorted coldly. Didn't you say that you have never refined the soul cleansing pill? If that's the case, then what is it if you don't admit defeat? Yunchujo spread her hands. I have never refined it, but that doesn't mean that I haven't succeeded. How would I know if I don't try? Host, please help me prepare the herbs I need. Isn't it just the soul cleansing pill? It's a piece of cake. The host asked someone to prepare the herbs needed for the soul cleansing pill and place them on Yunchujo's workbench. Then, just as she was about to announce the start, Yunchujo spoke again. Host, please wait a moment. I suggest that Situsher personally come up and check my alchemy furnace and these spirit herbs. Also, it's best if he stands beside me and watches me refine, lest he says that I cheated again. Some people are very shameless. They are afraid of losing face and would accuse others of cheating. Oh right, it would be best if the 10 judges also watched me. This would prevent Situsher from framing me. Although Situsher was gnashing his teeth with hatred, he felt that this was not a bad idea. He stood by the side and watched to prevent Yunchujo from making any small moves. The 10 judges were all alchemists. They were originally very curious about Yunchujo being able to refine a supreme-grade medicinal pill, so they were very willing to supervise from the side. Situsher looked at Yunchujo's pill furnace a few times, but he didn't find anything strange. Yunchujo said with a smile, Situsher, if you're really worried, why don't you give me a pill furnace? I'll use the pill furnace you gave me to refine it. That way you'll be at ease. Situsher really did have an empty pill furnace in his storage ring. After thinking about it, even though giving it to Yunchujo was a bit of a waste, he was at least more at ease, thus he took out the alchemy furnace. Since that's the case, you can use this old man's alchemy furnace. Yunchujo took it and looked at it. She was amused. Ah, it's a high-grade alchemy furnace. And it's bigger than mine. If this shabu hot pot is much more satisfying than mine. Everyone. Situsher felt for a moment that this stinky girl wasn't trying to scam me with an alchemy furnace, right? Chapter 1429. Face the medicinal herbs. Yunchujo, can you start refining now? Situsher said impatiently. Yunchujo fiddled with the newly obtained alchemy furnace in satisfaction and said carelessly, yes, the host will count the time. Everyone realized that after the host announced the start of the refining, Yunchujo did not start refining immediately. Instead, she held the medicinal herbs and looked at them slowly. She had no intention of refining at all. The crowd could not help but discuss among themselves, what is Yunchujo doing there? Why isn't she refining pills? Didn't she say that? She has never refined a soul-cleansing pill before. I think she is just stalling for time. She has already given up. Sigh. Do you think she is seeking death by playing tricks? She was originally in first place, yet she had to make a bet with Situsher. I think she is already regretting it to death. Situsher looked at Yunchujo, who was dawdling, and felt extremely proud. This wretched girl definitely didn't know how to refine the soul-cleansing pill. That was why she was pretending to fiddle with the medicinal herbs. No matter how crafty you were, I would make you reveal your true form. One of the judges couldn't stand it anymore and said to Yunchujo, Yunchujo, it's already been almost 15 minutes. Why aren't you refining it? What are you doing? Yun Chujo said seriously, "I'm giving the herbs a face. Let me see which one is better. Only good herbs can make good pills. I'm not in a hurry to cut the vegetables." The judge was so angry that he almost fainted. He had never heard of it. Giving the herbs a face? Are you crazy? Those judges were now very sure that Yun Chujo didn't know how to refine the soul-cleansing pill. They couldn't help but shake their heads. This little girl was still too inexperienced. She shouldn't have agreed to see Tushi's bet. She was simply asking for trouble. Just when everyone thought that Yun Chujo was just wasting her time, they saw Yun Chujo turn on the earth fire and place the alchemy furnace on top to warm it up. Everyone was shocked. Could it be that she did not give up? When the 10 judges saw that Yun Chujo took the same amount of spirit herbs and the pill formula, they were slightly shocked. It seemed that this little girl knew the pill formula of the soul-cleansing pill, but they did not know if she could successfully refine it. This time, Yun Chujo did not open the lid to refine it. Instead, she placed the herbs in order, closed the lid of the alchemy furnace, and began to control the temperature. The people of the Tianyuan continent had some anticipation in their hearts. From the looks of it, it seemed a little interesting. Perhaps Yun Chujo would really be able to refine the soul-cleansing pill? Their good mood did not last long because they saw Yun Chujo lift the lid of the alchemy furnace. Then, she picked up a yellow thistle and threw it into the alchemy furnace. After a while, she picked up another qi lung and threw it in. Everyone was so anxious that they wanted to go up and beat Yun Chujo up. "You originally put the right proportion, why did you add herbs into it again? Aren't you overdoing it? This is really infuriating." Initially, Tusher was a little flustered when he saw Yun Chujo refining it properly, but now that he saw Yun Chujo courting death, he was finally relieved. The judges felt sorry for Yun Chujo. Originally, this alchemy furnace might have succeeded, but with her mischief, it probably would not have succeeded. This little girl was really ridiculous. Only the oldest judge had a thought. This little girl had also added a few medicinal herbs into the bone healing pill when she was refining it previously. Could it be that this was the secret to her being able to refine a super-grade medicinal pill? Chapter 1430. The biggest shadow of your life. Yun Chujo's alchemy furnace began to emit a medicinal fragrance. Tusher was a little flustered. This medicinal fragrance was quite strong. Could it be that the smelly girl was really going to succeed in refining it? No. He had to think of a way to distract her. The most taboo thing in refining pills was to be distracted. Once she was distracted, the alchemy furnace would be ruined. Hence, Tusher snorted coldly. "Yun Chujo, I've never seen anyone add medicinal herbs in the middle of alchemy. Your alchemy furnace will definitely be ruined." The 10 judges frowned slightly. Tusher, as the dignified dean of the Nether Academy, actually used such a small trick. It was really too despicable. He was planning to distract Yun Chujo's attention, hoping that the little girl would not fall for it. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujo said with a smile, "Tusher, are you planning to distract my attention? Tsk, you are really shameless to actually use such a low-class trick." The crowd below the stage instantly exploded. Even the people of the Netherworld continent felt that Tusher's actions were somewhat improper. This was too beneath his dignity. Vice Palace Master Lu frowned. "Idiot. Even if you wanted to distract the smelly girl's attention, you should have used some obscure methods. If you did it so brazenly, wouldn't that leave a trail of gossip?" Tusher also felt a little regretful in his heart. The reason why he was so anxious was because he couldn't imagine the consequences he would have to bear if Yun Chujo really succeeded in refining it. 100 million high-grade spirit stones was easy to deal with, but the main reason was to apologize in public. Really took his old life. Yun Chujo curled her lips. "Playing mind games with me? I'll play you to death. My spirit recognition said that even if I were to argue with you, it wouldn't stop me from refining pills." After a quarter of an hour, Yun Chujo turned off the earth fire and said with a smile, "Host, I've finished refining it." The elderly judge smelled the medicinal fragrance on the stage and said anxiously, "Yun Chujo, open the lid of the alchemy furnace Yun Chujo smiled at Si Tusher. Si Tusher, Dean Si Tusher. What's going to happen next might be the biggest shadow in your life. Do you have any first aid pills on you? Don't choke to death in a moment. Si Tusher was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Scaremongering. Stop wasting time. Hurry up and open the lid of the alchemy furnace. Although Si Tusher was a little flustered, he felt that even if Yun Chujo could successfully refine it, there might not be any transcendent-grade pills. After all, transcendent-grade pills were very hard to come by. Ding ding ding, everyone has their eyes on it. Little Joe's product is guaranteed to be of high quality. Yun Chujo opened the lid of the alchemy furnace. Si Tusher stood at the very front. When he saw the situation inside, he felt his mind go blank. Cold sweat dripped down from his forehead. Impossible. This is impossible. I must have seen wrongly. Si Tusher closed his eyes and opened them again. He looked inside the alchemy furnace once again. There were 10 round pills at the bottom of the alchemy furnace. 5 of them had rings of pill patterns on them. Could it be? Could it be that Yun Chujo had really refined another 5 supreme-grade soul cleansing pills? Si Tusher forced himself to ask the 10 judges, you guys quickly check it out. Is she refining a soul cleansing pill? Is it another pill? The 10 judges looked at Si Tusher sympathetically. What he said was simply nonsense. Of course, the soul cleansing pill refined by those herbs could not be another pill. Chapter 1431. Your sincerity is not enough. The elderly judge took out a pill and smelled it. He said with certainty, this is the soul cleansing pill, and it's a supreme grade soul cleansing pill. Si Tusher was a little unsteady. It was over. He had lost the bet. Not only did he have to admit his mistake to Yun Chujo in public, but he also had to compensate her with 100 million upper grade spirit stones. Spirit stones were easy to deal with, but apologizing to her in public was really too embarrassing. Yun Chujo said with a smile, host, please announce the results. I believe everyone is waiting anxiously. When the audience saw the performance of Yun Chujo and Si Tusher, they already knew the general results. Could it be that Yun Chujo not only successfully refined the soul cleansing pill, but also refined a superior grade soul cleansing pill? After the host communicated with the 10 judges, he said loudly, the success rate of the soul cleansing pill that Yun Chujo refined is 100%. There are 5 supergrade and supergrade pills and 5 high-grade pills. Yun Chujo is the winner of the bet. The crowd immediately exploded. Although they had some vague guesses just now, they were still not quite sure. Now that they heard the host's words, they immediately started to discuss. No wonder Yun Chujo dared to agree to Si Tushi's bet. It seems that she is confident. Yeah, the so-called the strong are bold. A genius is indeed a genius. The first time is a coincidence and the second time is strength. I have to say, Yun Chujo won this bet too beautifully. This time, that old guy Si Tusher definitely has nothing to say. He even said that our Yun Chujo cheated? Tui. He is just plain jealous. Although Dean Huangfu tried his best to endure, his mouth was almost unable to close. Good. Yun Chujo did well. It was really too satisfying. That old fellow, Si Tusher, had lost a lot of face this time. At this moment, Yun Chujo, who was on the stage, waved her hand at everyone to signal for them to be quiet. Everyone quieted down. Yun Chujo sighed. Sigh, it's almost noon. I'm a little hungry, so I didn't perform well. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently. Forget it. You still didn't perform well? Do you still want us mortals to live? Si Tusher, Principal Si Tusher, I won this bet. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise? I'm in a hurry to go down for lunch, so don't dawdle. Si Tushi's old face was flushed red. He wanted to cheat, but he had already sworn in his heart demon oath. Moreover, under the watchful eyes of everyone, it really didn't make sense to cheat. After Si Tusher passed the spirit stone to Yun Chujo, he gritted his teeth and squeezed out 3 words, I'm sorry. Yun Chujo pouted, you can't say that. Let's do it again. You. Don't push your luck. I've already apologized, what more do you want? Tusher wished he could find a hole to hide in. This was the darkest day of his life, and he had never been so humiliated. Chujo said with a smile, Tusher, when you said that I cheated just now, you were very long-winded. Why are you so stingy when you apologize? Moreover, your voice is too soft, isn't it? The people behind can't hear you. Say it again or else be careful of being struck by lightning. The people from the Tianyuan continent also started to jeer. That's right. None of us heard it. What's the use of just saying sorry? If you say that you wronged Chujo, then you have to say that you are petty and jealous. Chujo didn't cheat. That's right, there's no sincerity in apologizing at all. Don't tell me that the Netherworld continent is such a dishonest person? Chapter 1432. The domineering Chujo Tusher stared at Chujo maliciously, wishing that he could slap her to death. He gritted his teeth and said, Chujo, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have wronged you. You didn't cheat. That should be enough, right? Alright, I've always been a magnanimous person. Since you've apologized to me so sincerely, then this matter can be considered as settled. Principal Situ, don't take it to heart either. If you know your mistakes, you will be able to change them, and it will be the best thing for you to do. Put down the butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the spot. As long as you learn more from me, you can still be saved. Tushi's head was buzzing from Chujo's anger. He gave Chujo a few vicious looks before jumping off the stage and staggering back to his seat. Vice Palace Master Liu's face was gloomy. He glared at Tusher with displeasure. Trash. It was really embarrassing to be fooled by a little girl. Chujo saw Tusher leaving and she bowed to the 10 judges and the host. Then, she gave 5 supreme-grade soul cleansing pills and 5 supreme-grade bone healing pills to the 10 judges. Then she gave the remaining 10 high-grade pills to the host. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your hard work. This is just a small token of appreciation. Please keep it as a souvenir. Chujo said as she hopped off the stage. The 10 judges and the MC were stunned and moved. They had not expected Chujo to do such a thing. Regardless of the value of the pills, this respect and sincerity was very touching. Linhan now found Chujo pleasing to the eye. He could not help but exclaim in his heart, my son has inherited this from me. His taste in choosing a wife is really good. Little Jo not only has heaven-defying talent, and although she is usually a little out of the ordinary in the way she conducts herself, but she is still quite clever when it comes to handling some crucial matters. This is much better than Bei Ming, with her assisting Bei Ming in the future. I can also feel more at ease. Linhan had completely forgotten how he had despised Chujo back then. Moreover, 2 hours ago, he had thought that Chujo had only won the competition because she had cheated. Shueli's eyes flashed with admiration. This little girl was indeed not bad. But that silly kid Wuji probably did not have such luck. The moment Chujo stepped off the competition stage, she naturally received the cheers of everyone in the Tianyuan continent. This fellow pretended to be humble and said a few words before jumping beside Dean Huangfu and said with a smile, Dean, fortunately I did not fail you. Just a few words. Dean Huangfu felt his nose ache. He thought to himself, what's wrong with me? Could it be that I'm old? Why am I so touched? Good. Very good. Dean Huangfu said these 3 words with a slight sob. Chujo giggled. Dean, this is only the beginning. Don't worry. Next, their Nether Academy will not obtain another victory. The first place will be ours. Dean Huangfu's eyes turned red from Chujo's words. He did not know why, but he knew that this was the little girl's return to him. It was a return for his kindness, and it was also a return for his care. At this moment, Dean Huangfu believed that Chujo could really do it. This was because he could see the confidence and dominance in Yoon Chujia's eyes as she looked down at the world. Well, Dean, I'm starving. I'm going to eat something first. Call me when the talisman competition starts. Dean Huangfu felt that the domineering image that Yoon Chujio had painstakingly built up in his heart was gone with a puff. She was still that cheeky foodie. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.